Hello, everybody, and welcome to the party. My name is Don. I will be your Galaxy Master this evening as we are kicking off May the 4th with Star Wars Month here on Side Quests. Today we are playing Airlock, a home-doctored version of it called Hyperdrive, where with us is a group of plucky rebels who will be taking on the might of the Galactic Empire. Before we get started with their resistance, we here at Welcome to the Party have a few sponsors that we would like to extend our thanks to. It's a huge thanks to Tabletop Loot, our amazing dice sponsor, providers of fine dice for all of your gaming needs. Head on over to tabletoploot.com, use the code WTTPDICE to get 15% off of your next purchase. Now, Maddie and his amazing merch shop are the sole provider of Welcome to the Party merch. So head on over to sonerdwear.com. Use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off of your purchase. So Nerdwear. It's what the nerds wear. Now, Welcome to the Party is proudly sponsored by Roll20, the virtual tabletop that runs straight out of your web browser. Everything you need to play with your friends is ready at the click of a mouse, from click-to-roll character sheets to built-in video and voice chat. You can even upload your own maps and tokens, which you will be seeing plenty of tonight. Get all of that and more with a free basic account on roll20.net/start/WTTP. Finally, Welcome to the Party is proudly supported by Devin Rue, who has provided huge support to the community ever since we've launched. For some of the best cartographical content on the web, go ahead and check out rueinc.com. Now, our Patreon not only goes to support the channel, but the people who support it too. Your generosity allows us to keep working on our mission to platform amazing LGBTQ+ and BIMPOC players and creators. So come check us out, patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg. And as always, come join us on our amazing Discord, where you can chat with myself, all of my players, and plenty of other people who would love to talk some gaming with you. With the spiel out of the way, let's go ahead and introduce our rebels for tonight. I am going to go ahead and start off the introductions with Sin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sin. You may have seen me on New to the Party playing Trisinia, the Mandalorian member of the Dark Horse crew. Tonight, I am playing Tal Ace Dankana, a non-binary, they use they, them pronouns, a non-binary Fargul pilot.
Kirsten.
Hello, I am Kirsten. Today I am playing Jess, the human deal maker, tradeswoman, whatever you need, really.
Glim.
Hello, I'm Glim. Today, my pronouns are they, them. Today I will be playing Starseed Brimmen, short for Stars. They are a Goopin shapeshifter who most often presents as a Zabrak, and they are gender fluid and use they, them, he, him, or she, her.
And last but not least, Ajay.
Hi, folks. My name is Ajay. I use he, him pronouns. And I will be playing Inatash Ghosh, who is a human space daisy. I believe I have an echo going. Hush. Initas is a former Clone Wars tech specialist turned test engineer. And now he's just grumpy, is what he is.
This here is the crew of the Cat's Paw, a YT-2000 light freighter. They are a small band of rebels in the wake of the destruction of the first Death Star. The call for resistance has gone out across the entire galaxy. People all over are rising up against the evil of the Galactic Empire, fighting for their freedom, fighting to end over a decade of their tyranny. Now, our crew has many special talents, but in Airlock, the most important thing they have is each other. Relationships in Airlock are akin to superpowers. You can quite literally win through feels. With that said, each of our players, their characters have very strong relationships with their other crewmates. So I will go ahead and let them explain in order who they have these relationships with and perhaps why. Let's go ahead and start with Ace.
So, Ace, let's begin. Ace views Inatas as a comrade, a friend who they can get along with, who doesn't really judge them on the way they present themselves, and just cares about getting the job done. Stars, despite the age gap, Ace is pretty protective. So Stars to them would be considered a ward. Ace isn't really sure why either. Just something about Star's general personality kind of sets off protective instincts. As for Jess, given that Ace is from a smuggler, kind of a rougher background, in a sense, Jess is a rival because they pride themselves on also having connections everywhere. It's more of a friendly rivalry. It's not an actively, backstabby kind of thing.
And just to let our viewers be aware, the terms ward, comrade, rival will come up during play, and all of them mean something slightly different. Next, let's go to Jess.
Hello. So Jess views Inatus, or Bulwark, as a curiosity because she also has a past, but she's more open with it. So she's like, what is up with them? Because I am curious. She views Stars as a comrade because they're relatively close in age and they might have some other similarities as far as abilities go. And as for Ace, Jess views them as a ward because she kind of latches on to people who are younger and was like, I will protect you no matter what.
Next, let's hear about Stars' connections to the crew.
Okay, so Stars is Inatas, Stars views as a comrade, someone that they generally trust, and also someone who will put them in lightsaber timeout when they accidentally cut something they're not supposed to. Jess is a curiosity because they can see some potential and power within them, but they're just not sure what to do about that. And Ace as a rival, not so much a rivalry where they want to be better than Ace, more that they want to be better to the point that Ace doesn't tell them not to touch any of the other controls except for the shield generators.
And lastly, how does Inatas feel about the rest of the crew?
Yes, so Starcy, I have seen as a ward, because at the rate they go, they are liable to kill someone, and particularly themselves, unless someone keeps an eye on them. As for Ace, I see them as a comrade. They are a competent pilot. They don't talk when they don't have to talk, and they keep the ship clean. Finally, Jess. She's my grudge. I don't trust her. This ex-smuggler type. Who knows who she owes? Who knows who she's about to sell us out to? I don't trust it. I don't trust her.
Sorry.
As we can see, a complicated ship full of complicated connections. But that's what makes Airlock great. We begin our story a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The Cat's Paw finds itself on Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon that orbits around Nal Hutta. the base of power of the Hutt cartels. So far, the cartels have mostly remained neutral throughout the conflict between the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire. They're quite happy to profit from the arms trade, mostly to the Empire, just to make sure that they don't have Star Destroyers suddenly knocking on their doors. Nar Shaddaa is known as a place where you can find just about anything so long as you know who to ask. It is a den of vice and sin. It is filled with spice, credits, gambling, and everything that can delight and entertain anyone for a price. The Cat's Paw finds itself here on a mission for the Alliance. Word has been sent that a defector from the company Blastech wants to arrange a trade here in order to foster goodwill with the Alliance and prove that they are not in perhaps a false defector. They are planning on turning over a vast shipment of blasters, Tabana gas, power cells, munitions that the growing Alliance is going to need now that more star systems are joining the fight. The defector has chosen Nar Shaddaa as a meetup place solely because it is somewhere where the Empire doesn't have too much of a reach. Too much of a reach, that is, for everyone knows that spies and agents of all sides are all over this moon. The crew makes their way to the Black Hole, a large mixture of a cantina and gambling hall that they have been instructed to meet their contact at. Their contact is Director Calvis, a male human who they have been given the description of and is on their data pads. From here, I'm going to go ahead and drop us into a structured scene, which is the main state of play for Airlock. So on your Roll20, you will be able to see that we are shifting over towards an intrigue scene. Intrigue scenes are scenes of investigation, of dialogue, of essentially interpersonal interactions. They are snooping around an area for clues. They are interrogating someone for information. They are trying to blend in at a place where you perhaps don't belong. So for here, you'll see that up at the top is a danger rating. Danger is something that our players do not want. The more danger they have, the more danger they are actually in. Things can go wrong. In an intrigue scene, that usually means blowing your cover, attracting attention that you don't want. Someone gets aggressive or frustrated. The negotiations are blown, and something terrible happens as a result. You'll see that we have a pressure rating. Pressure indicates how dangerous the scene is. Everyone's danger will increase by the pressure rating at the beginning of every round. So every round, everyone gets 3 danger. Below that, you'll see that we have agendas. These will be filled out by you. Each one represents something that you want out of this scene. We have here a targeting wheel. This is the main state of play for Airlock. Here, you'll see numbers circling around from 1 to 20. Every time you roll, if you're making progress in a roll, either using your reckless progress or cautious progress tactics, we will go ahead and mark a tracker on this wheel. Every 5, which you'll see are notated in green, is a hit. A hit will then allow you to put a point of completion on one of your agendas. The agendas can take anywhere between 1 to 5 points of completion. It will depend upon the agenda. Clear so far?
Yes.
Okay. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and put in a very basic agenda that does need to be completed in order to complete this scene. The crew is here to arrange a deal with this defector. You are here in order to acquire the shipment that they have promised the Alliance and make sure that they will continue to support the Alliance going forwards. The defector, more than likely, is probably very jittery, very paranoid, and very unsure if they can trust you, considering they are betraying the Empire to do this. it does not make for people who are very easy to get through to. Now, I turn it over to the players. Is there any other agenda that you can think of that you may want to accomplish during this scene?
I want to ensure that this defector isn't going to sell us out afterwards.
That is a great agenda.
Because I know his type. And if I was him, I'd sell us out.
So, we have a second agenda. Confirm that the defector will not betray us, which probably a good call, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can anyone think of one more agenda that they would like on the board?
Perhaps arranging a favorable price.
We'll consider that under the arrange the deal with the defector.
Okay.
Because each of these hits marks a point in the negotiation. So like one of those hits could be arranging the price. Another hit could be arranging further support for the alliance. Another hit could be something
Finding
that
out where they cached all the weapons.
something, yes, there you go, something to that regard. So every single hit basically progresses the conversation forward. Whereas anything that doesn't get a hit is just dialogue or goals in between.
Glenn, you had one, right?
I think Starcy would want to ensure that the crew gets out okay.
Okay, we will go ahead and label that agenda as ensure that we are not in more danger. It's actually not a bad.
That we get away.
It's actually not a bad thing to think about, considering again you are in hut space. You're on a smuggler's moon, where it is quite possible there are other characters at play here that may not actually have good things in mind for you, or may actually be eavesdropping on this and think that they can maybe get your score before you can. Is there perhaps one more agenda to fill this out? We do not have to have all four. What about you, Jess? Is there something that you would like to accomplish in this scene?
I feel like Jess is pretty focused on kind of arranging the deal with the defector. I mean, that's her specialty, so.
I
Okay.
mean, the other thought that occurred to me was, how can we be sure he hasn't already arranged for an ambush? Because will not betray us doesn't include previous betrayal.
Ooh.
I would say though that still falls under the third agenda of ensure we are not in danger, as that would be, because again, intrigue scenes don't necessarily mean dialogue. It can mean like snooping around the scene and like poking your head into areas you shouldn't be, talking to other patrons at the cantina of, hey, did you see anything suspicious going on here? So one of the hits of that could be directed towards, is there an ambush waiting for us when we leave this place? You know, are there people with guns that are waiting at the shipment that we're supposed to get?
Yeah.
So that wraps up nicely into that.
Other than that, I can't think of anything else.
Okay,
Folks?
Yeah, seems good.
good to go. Okay, so then I am going to go ahead and set how hard each of these is going to be to achieve. Arranging the deal is going to be the hardest thing. That is going to require 4 hits, which is a grand total of 20 successes.
Got a relationship train going. That's nothing.
Yeah, once relationships pop, they don't stop. Confirming that the defector will not betray us. That is going to be, come on, roll 20. Thank you. That is going to take 2 hits. And ensuring that we are not in further danger than just what we see around here, or just the idea of meeting in this freaking casino, essentially, on a smuggler's moon. That's going to be 3 hits. So in order to perfectly clear out the scene, that's going to be 45 hits total.
Got it.
Or sorry, not 45 hits. 45 progress total. 45 hits, we would be here for about 3 days. That would take a long time. So, setting the stage. You walk into the black hole. The place itself is a 2-tiered casino. On the second floor, which you can see from the bottom going up escalators, appears to be the main gambling center of this place. You can see upstairs that there's already Kazakh tables, Sabak tables, that there's a couple of other like dice games and ball games and a few digital ones that they have going on. The lower level appears to be almost entirely devoted to a performance stage, upon which you see that there is a Klatouinian who appears to be performing a couple of pieces of Hattis jazz. And there's a dance floor as well as a very large bar that is serving patrons of all manners of species, even some that even Jess and Ace have never seen before. The place is crowded. The place is packed. It does mean it's easier to hide, but it also does mean that if anyone is actually spying on you, that might be a little difficult for you to ascertain very easily.
Stars is regretting that one of their main forms is a Zabrak with vitiligo.
I don't like it here. I don't like it here at all. We're gonna get shot.
Can
We'll be fine. Okay?
Look on the bright side. If people start shooting, there's a lot of bodies in the way.
That makes it worse. Civilian casualties makes it worse.
It'll make it easier to keep our skins intact.
Look,
how do we find this person?
I don't think the people here are civilians. Just saying.
So,
For once, I agree with Jess.
So to give a bit of direction, finding Director Calvis is going to be the first hit on arranging the deal with the defector. So as soon as you get that, you will have found where your contact is. So I'm going to start us at the beginning of a round. Everyone gets danger. Every single scene of Airlock, the enemies, whether it be the environment or actual enemies, always go first. You always get danger applied to you before you can do anything.
Oh my.
It sucks to be the heroes. With that said, though, the pressure in this is just the environment is packed, it's crowded, it has left a couple of you very clearly on edge. It has made it very clear that this is, while somewhat of a safe place to make this sort of arrangement, it is not a safe place. You certainly notice that there are people walking around openly carrying blaster pistols and vibro knives on their person. So if something were to happen here, it would get violent and deadly very, very fast. Not to mention, you also feel you're under a bit of a time crunch. If the Empire gets to this director first, all of this will have been for naught. So, the stage is set. The players are in their places. Who would like to go first?
Do we have a description of this person? I'm assuming.
So yes,
some like normally there's like an insignia or some type of indication of like when you're trying to make a deal, it's like this is the person you're looking for.
So you have Director Calvis's image on data pads. You all have handy dandy data pads, which are basically like mini portable computers, essentially. So you all know exactly what he looks like. You have been informed by Alliance Intelligence that when approaching Director Calvis, you are to first ask, Blast Tech stocks don't appear to be doing as well lately. And the director will respond with, well, that's because there's trouble in the future for them.
Understood.
We'll go.
So
I feel like Starcy is probably that person that's like flicking on and off the data pad to try to figure out what they're doing. But is also scanning the room. I'm not entirely sure what that would fall under.
So it depends upon how you want to. So mechanically, there are 4 things that you can always do: reckless progress, cautious progress, protect yourself, protect an ally. So the top two always add hits to the tracker. Those are the only two that actually make progress in a scene. Reckless progress adds danger to yourself. So whatever you're doing, you are doing it without heed to your own safety. So that could be stars literally going up to every single person that they see and being like, so about those blast tech stocks. It would attract something that attracts attention, something that makes it harder to say, go unnoticed or to complete your mission. Cautious progress doesn't get you results faster, but it's more safe. You don't get any extra danger whenever you use cautious progress, which for Intrigue is the snoop tactic. Protecting yourself
Yeah, I think
lowers.
I'd be snooping.
Okay, so
I'm
snoop is
definitely snooping.
I
Okay.
will note that I have very high support. So if you get into hot water, I can bail you out pretty easy. So
I think I have a wonderful ability for if I get into hot water.
That actually does remind me, before we go too much further, all of our players do have, aside from just their stats, they have very special talents and abilities and things that help them out here. One of them in the traditional airlock is called a voidnetic. Here we just call it a technique or a skill. There is a particular intrigue one that would reduce your danger at the beginning of every intrigue round. Does anyone happen to have that?
I do not.
Jess has
I
that?
believe that is me. I have Aura Vision, which it says real-time awareness of moods and behaviors and motives. Support reduces the danger of... Wait, no. That just says reduce the danger of 2 hours instead of 1.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay. So that will come up later. That's
Wait. I also have Snake Eyes. That also does it.
I believe that's when you use the snoop tactic, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So never mind. But those are good. Those are very, very good, and you should definitely be using those when they come up. There is specifically one that actually reduces your danger at the start of every round. But I don't think anyone has that. But that's okay, because you have other ways to reduce your danger. Then your Snake Eyes will come in very much handy. So stars, why don't you go ahead and make that snoop roll? What is your snoop rating?
3.
3.
Ooh.
I think.
So in Airlock, you always roll 5 dice. Your rating always tells you how many of those are D10s. Everything else is a D6. So you're going to roll 3 D10 plus 2 D6. You're looking for a 6 or better on the die.
3 D10. Okay. So I always have to remember how to roll this, and I'll start typing faster.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, wait. Oh, I rolled that separately. Shoot.
That's okay. So just add 2d6, and we may be looking at a really good roll here. Do you have an intrigue passage by chance?
Actually, I think I do. So my passage is somehow a Jedi Knight. I had to rename all of these. It was
amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. So
brilliant.
So passages are the training and background of our characters. They are an accumulation of skills, knowledge, and talents that they've built up as doing a bunch of stuff before they actually joined up on this adventure, essentially. Passages are tied to a specific scene, in this case, Intrigue. And whenever someone rolls a 10, when they have a passage, it counts as 2 successes. So you have a 10 that counts as 2. You have the 2 8s, and you have a 6. So that's 5 total, which is a ridiculous amount of successes on a roll where you can only roll 5 dice total. And that's actually a hit. So I'm going to move our tracker here to the 5. And I'm going to go ahead and put a single check on arrange the deal with the defector. So the cool thing is the more successes you get, the more narrative power you have. Stars, tell us what happens. How exactly do you go about snooping about? How do you find the director? How do they respond?
Stars will first kind of, just in case, telekinesis their lightsaber away from Inatas. Just in case.
Fine.
and just shove it down. They're doing the, you know, the Elizabeth Swann where you actually have a literal like flintlock in your pants. They literally just shove it down their pants because they're like, nope, I'm not hiding. I'm gonna hide this where nobody else is gonna find it, most likely. And then they've been kind of flicking the data pad on and off, like not on and off, but like flicking between pages so that it looks like they're kind of, you know, wandering around, just looking around to make themselves seem a little bit more conspicuous, so that way when they actually not too conspicuous, but like just enough conspicuous that's like, okay, if you were someone who's waiting for someone, you'd be like, okay, they'd definitely be trying to find you in some manner. So they'd kind of be doing that, and then when they see someone who looks like the person that they're looking for, they just kind of go over, and they wouldn't go right up to them. They'd kind of go and, like, you know, lean against the wall, look around, wait for a couple people to pass, and then pretend like they're reading on the tablet and just mumble the passphrase, essentially, like as if they're reading out loud.
Gotcha. You find Director Calvis at the bar. Appears to be towards one of the edges, still surrounded by a huge crowd of people. When you finally make your way up to him and get a seat next to him, you can see that he's already pretty deep into his cups and is trying to flag down the bartender, still going, a Corellian whiskey, and an ale, and a Corellian lager too. These droid bartenders. And then he finally realizes what you said, and he looks over, eyes bloodshot but wide, very dilated at that point. As he goes, yes, there's going to be some trouble for them soon. Did you come alone?
The Starcy would just kind of look around the room and just be like, I'm never alone. And would in that instance, oh man, who's Bulwark looks like a fairly intimidating person, I'm assuming.
He is incredibly intimidating.
I was gonna go either Bulwark or Jess, but I think Bulwark's the best person for this because they've probably done this before. Would kind of do this, but what it would actually do is one of the straps on Bulwark's like shoulder would kind of tug, so that way they'd know which direction to look. So they see stars just kind of go like this, and then Bulwark immediately kind of turns to look at them, if that makes sense, if that's okay with.
Yes. And what Director Calvis sees is just this beat up looking late 40s, just 6'2" behemoth of a man carrying a giant repeater on his back just storm up and can I take the next move?
Go for it.
If you want to.
I would like to confront.
You would like to confront. Okay.
I'd like to confront.
Confronting is a reckless progress move. That is going to immediately increase your danger by 3. But I'm assuming Bulwark doesn't care that much about that.
I mean, the others had also probably the others were probably walking near Bulwark and had no idea that Starcy had just wandered off somewhere.
Oh no, Ace is lurking in Starcy's vicinity.
Starcy just doesn't know it.
And what is Jess up to?
Just is probably by Bulwark, but kind of trying to keep an eye on everyone, and maybe get a read of the general mood of her team, and Whoever that strange fellow Stars is talking to.
Fair enough. We will get to Ace's tactic and Jess's tactic in just a moment. That reminds me, Stars rolling just a ridiculous amount of successes. If anyone is Stars' rival, that would have actually triggered your relationship with them. And I see that Enitas also has 3 successes, a 7, a 9, and a 6. So if anyone is Enitas's rival, that would also trigger that relationship. So does that go for anyone?
I don't view anyone as a rival.
That's
Apparently.
Oh, honey.
Okay. So then
I think the only person that has a rival is
Me and Jess.
well, no.
No, Star.
Me and Ace, actually, because not
no, I thought
so
Jess
much
down
not so much a
rival.
nasty rivalry, more like an I want to impress you.
I have
maybe
Jess down as a rival, so
Oh, okay.
Okay. So 3 successes on the roll, plus you used reckless progress. You used to confront, which also grants by default 3 successes, 3 progress. So that's 6 total, which is another hit. So now I need to ask, are you going to apply the hit into arranging the deal with the defector or into confirming the defector won't betray us?
Start with the deal. We can scare him straight later.
Okay. So that is 2 hits there, and let's roleplay this out. What do you say?
So immediately, Ghosh notices the nice little conga line of empty drinks, and immediately orders 2 waters from one of the waiters. And once it comes, he just immediately like plunks one right in front of this guy and says, "We need you sober." Understood?
How do I know you don't have some sort of secretion under your fingers that seep through the glass into that?
At this point, he just takes the man's drink, takes a sip, and then hands it back. Convinced?
Yeah. So I suppose, unless you. No. That's. He just grabs the cup with both hands and just like tosses it back. You see it gets mostly over his cheeks, but enough of it goes down his gullet.
Good.
So, were you followed?
I would make sure we were not.
And
if we are followed, and he just kind of like tugs at his giant freaking weapon, they would not be following for long. Understood?
Yeah, the Alliance said that they were sending a contact for me, and he gestures at your repeater and goes, "I didn't think that they were sending a turret."
Yeah. Is it okay if Stars says something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Stars is just going to be like, well, I mean, clearly we have the means to protect ourselves. Just kind of trying to maybe ease out that situation a little bit.
Yeah. No. That certainly that works. And at hearing that, Calvis calms down noticeably.
Jess,
And,
do you have a move in mind? Otherwise, I'll jump in, tagging off of Star's last line.
Go ahead. I can.
Oh,
She's
sorry.
just
Did you have something
sitting-
in mind?
She was gonna try to like get a feel for everyone and then act. So go ahead.
Okay, because
She's enjoying this way too much.
aren't we all? Yeah, so Ace is going to you would swear that Ace was not there previously, like it was just empty space. And then suddenly there's just green cat eyes as Ace steps out of what was basically a patch of shadow behind this massive at least you would see it. The Calvis probably has his back to them, and they kind of lean over and say, and thus you can also see we have the means to protect you. To kind of reassure them that we're here to help. We're gonna get you out of this. Work with us.
So, what tactic are you using here?
I think during this like, while the others have been alternatively contacting him and scaring him sober, I've been trying to listen in on like the conversations going on around in the general area to see if anyone's, taking more notice of this than they ought to be, or, paying more attention to our contact than they otherwise would be. So I'm kind of leaning this towards a snoop because I'm listening in on other people.
Mm-hmm.
So is that okay?
It is. And does that mean that you're trying to apply the hit towards ensure we are not in more danger, or are you still going? Or, I'm sorry, you don't have a hit yet. I'm getting ahead of the game. Why don't you go ahead and make that roll, and let's see what happens.
Okay. I'm using physical dice because I don't trust Roll20.
That's
a vibe.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't play anyone. And of course, everyone else is free to do so as well. I'm sorry, I did not say so.
I have 3 successes, so that's not bad.
Nice.
1, 2, 3. So you're just shy of a hit here. To explore another one of Airlock's mechanics, would you like to maybe use a talent on this roll in order to push this into being a hit?
Sure, why not? I'll use the talent of charming.
You literally have a talent of charming. Oh my God.
I absolutely do.
It's so good, it's a superpower.
Yep, the description says, you know how to use your confidence, physical fitness, looks, attire, or flirtatious nature to inspire desire in others for the purposes of distraction or establishing trust.
What a vibe.
I am your distraction.
I'm your distraction. Okay, so talents are super special abilities that everyone has. They're usually quite unique to each character. And our players have a pool of fatigue that they need to pull from in order to use these. So they can't use them all the time, but when they need them, they're really helpful in a pinch. So working in your charmingness, and you got the hit, where are you applying the hit to?
Let's see, we're close to making a deal, aren't we? Yes, we are. Actually, yeah, we're close to making a deal, so I'll keep pushing on that one first. He's kind of slinks forward, and watching his reactions does a little bit of almost a hip cock, but not quite, and just settles one hand on their hip where you can see there's a blaster pistol is hidden under like a short jacket.
And he follows the move, and it's seeing the blaster pistol with the movement. He goes, well, I'm not quite sure whether to be terrified or something else, but I at the very least feel like I can trust the three of you for the moment.
Ace smiles, and like you see little pointed cat fangs when they smile, and they just say both is good.
He reaches for his whiskey glass, but accidentally grabs the water glass instead and goes, I'll drink to that. He does not notice his mistake as he downs that second glass of water now.
Initas takes the whiskey glass and pulls it away.
Fair enough.
This man is done drinking.
As you do so, Initas, you notice from the rather sharp, sour smell of the glass that Director Calvis here ain't exactly drinking top shelf. It's pretty cheap whiskey.
All the better. It stays away.
Okay, so that is one more hit on the board. You were so close to arranging the deal with the defector, and that brings us to Jess.
Yeah, so Jess just wants, she's just been watching this go down, and she sort of wants to get a feel from this defector, like, okay, what's up, what's his vibe, and like, what's the best way I can close this deal based on how he's like feeling.
Okay. That sounds like a snoop.
Okay. Wait, that's a thing. Okay. Does that mean that I would use the snake eyes for that?
That automatically triggers when you make the roll. So you would make the roll because it's based on how many successes you get on the roll, how much your danger goes down.
So, if my okay, can you remind me what to roll again?
What is your rating for Snoop?
5.
5.
What?
It is your-
Yeah, that's why I was confused because I'm like, I don't know if I need to roll something for this.
No, you still roll. Kitty! You still roll.
Me.
Ace, stop distracting Jess. So
I can't help it.
So you always roll 5 dice. The rating tells you how many are d10s. If your rating is a 5, you just roll 5 d10.
Okay,
So
let's
that's quite literally your best available tactic in the entire game right now. That's cool. So let's see what happens. 5d10. Oh, it's /roll space 5d10. Ooh, not actually a great roll. Do you happen to have a break associated with Snoop? It'll be just under the column for the tactics.
wait. No, not with Snoop.
Not with Snoop. Okay, so unfortunately, this roll is actually a failure. It doesn't remove anything. It doesn't take away progress or what have you. But it does mean that you don't get what you want out of this. So with that said, what happens here where Jess cannot close this in the way that she wants to? What goes wrong?
Instead of probably casually like getting like a feel for him, she just sort of like probably leaning in between like bulwark or something. She just sort of leans in and is like, so how you doing? And just completely fails at reading the tension and everything else.
Perfect. No, that works perfectly. So with that said, in his rather addled state of consciousness right now, Director Calvis has basically decided that Jess is the person that I want to speak to, and I don't want to speak to anyone else right now, therefore making it where the others can't close the deal as easily, but his attention is very clearly on striking up a conversation, and he has seemingly forgotten that he's here meeting with secret agents of the Alliance.
God.
So because of that, that ends the round. We go back to the top of the round, and at the top of the round, everyone's danger goes up by 3. 1, 2, 3. The pressure increases at this point because Calvis, in being distracted, is not able to focus enough to actually close a deal and get what you need. But that's okay, because again, there's still much more to go. At this point, however, Bulwark, your danger is approaching 10. You're almost in quite a bit of trouble here. When your danger reaches 10, you are not immediately in trouble. It is if a round begins and your danger is still at 10 or more. So it's okay to go over 10 if someone then uses like the support tactic and drops your danger back down, you're still safe. You can go over 10 once, and if you stay there, you use what's called the Phoenix Protocol. Something miraculous happens that pulls you out of danger at the absolute last minute, drops your danger back down to 0, it saves you. But if that happens again, at all, at least for our one shot, your character is effectively removed. It's something bad happens where they yes, but that isn't going to happen. You are an accomplished team of rebel operatives. With your danger 9, though, Bulwark, what you're noticing is in the corners, especially with your training going on several missions like this with Ace in the past, you can definitely see some cartel foot soldiers kind of giving you looks. It's very clear you are very heavily armed compared to most other patrons here. You see a couple of Rhodians and a Nikto talking and kind of gesturing over in your direction. You see one of them is talking to someone through a comm link. And you aren't sure exactly what's being said, but it's pretty clear that you are close to attracting a lot of negative attention.
All right.
Nothing too serious yet, but you might want to do something about that. So, round begins. Who would like to go?
If someone brings Jess's danger down, I can pull a relationship.
Okay.
So is Jess the one that's close, or is it you?
No, Bulwark
I'm
is
the one that's close.
Okay.
That made a big noise.
So,
Either you can drop your own danger with Gel, or one of us can drop his danger with support, is how we get him out of trouble.
Yes.
I was thinking Starsea might kind of, because they've worked with Bulwark a couple of times, would just kind of be like doing the little lean over and be like, hey, come on, have a drink with me, don't worry about it, and giving Bulwark the eyes of like, please.
I have a
Because Starsea is not worried about Bulwark being able to hold his liquor.
What was that, Jess?
If we wanted to do the gel thing, I have a break for that.
Gel only applies to oneself, I think.
Yeah, Gel's just
well,
for you.
You were saying that if I lowered my danger, then a relationship would apply?
Yes, if your relationship is half of mine, I can pull the grudge relationship.
Dangerous lesson. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if that would help or.
I believe that Stars also has a decent support role. Is that correct? Or no?
Yeah, my support role I think is, oh geez, where is it? My support is 4.
That's very good.
4. So the only reason I bring that up, and again, I'm just giving suggestions just because I've done a lot of Airlock. Jess has the Aura Vision where your support applies to 2 people. So it may be good for anyone at the table, to help get Jess's danger down, so Jess can then use that support later on to bring 2 people down and basically refresh you folks for the next round. And then
I can also do support.
True, but you're trying to trigger the relationships, I'm assuming,
That's
so that way
true.
we could do something major.
That's very true.
I have a 3 in support. I can help.
So tactically, whatever you folks wish is going to work. I promise you. I'm just suggesting if you want to pull off this relationship thing and get that rolling, that would be the best way to do it. Someone use support to get Jess down, Inatas do the thing, and then Jess would be able to use a support role to get Inatas and someone else down as well.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to jump in because I can see that that Director Calvis is really focusing on Jess, and he's probably starting to get louder because he's drunk.
Oh, very much so.
So I'm going to step, and Jess and all of us are starting to draw attention. So I'm going to gently step in and kind of redirect this back on and say, look, we came here as a team. Let's keep this. You don't want to be noticed, surely? That wouldn't be good for you.
Oh, no, because you see, if the Empire knows I'm here...
Yeah, I look at him like, uh-huh, and like flick out a claw for emphasis, and then bring it back in again.
So why don't you go ahead and make that roll?
Oh boy.
This can either go terribly or well. Let's find out.
Don't mess with Kitty.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
We like hearing that's good.
Yeah, 4. I'm good.
Woo!
4 successes?
4
Yeah.
successes.
A lucky dice.
Yay.
Does anyone consider ace a rifle?
Wait, I think I have that.
Yes, Stars, you have
I'm pretty
ace
sure I
survival,
do.
don't you?
Yeah, I
Ooh.
do.
Your relationship triggers there. So anytime during this turn or at the very least the next turn, you can trigger that relationship and it just gives you 5 successes. You don't have to roll any tactic.
Brilliant.
We will not be able to do it again until the end of the session, so be careful.
Wait, what's up?
Once
We're only
you
doing a one shot, we're not going to get a break in between to like refresh relationships.
So basically, once you use a relationship during this one shot, it's probably gone. So be sure that you actually want to commit to and use it.
Okay, so I don't have to use it right now unless
You have until the end of the next round to use it by.
Yeah.
So by your next action.
Next round.
But that relationship is triggered and ready to go. And because Justice Danger is now less than half of Bulwark's, Bulwark, your grudge relationship also triggered. So both of you have those ready to go. Just use them at least before the end of your next round if you want to.
Go for it.
All right.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm gonna use Snoop with my 5 successes that are come for free.
You're going to use that relationship. Okay.
Which I am going to mark that I've used it. So
Yes.
noticing that Jess is screwing this up, she's gonna get her cover blown. Immediately just like directs the director's attention to him and says, here's what we're going to do. And he just slides a data pad. I'm sure you have one of these as well, with all of the relevant information. We can swap information quietly. No one will know. And we can all get out of here without anyone noticing. Understood. We've done this before.
Assuming you are clearing out the first agenda.
Clearing out the first agenda. Let's just get this done. Everything else we can figure out later. This is the mission.
Well, we got to make sure we survive, so...
We can shoot our way out.
I don't like that.
I mean, I also have that relationship that I could trigger that might help later.
And I think Bulwark just triggered my relationship because when your curiosity invokes a relationship, okay,
So this is the fun thing about relationships in this game. When they start, they don't stop usually.
It's
a train of just feels until we win.
But don't burn all of them now. We still got the crew scene and
yeah, we might have
well,
to run.
You have to use a relationship by the end of the round, right?
By the end of the next round.
Yeah.
Next round.
I mean, if it happens again, if I get like another 3 or 4 successes, then you can do it again.
Yeah.
Okay,
it
so I don't.
It basically resets the clock if you don't use it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have to.
Yeah, so it can trigger multiple times. It's just when you finally use it, when you invoke it, then it's considered okay. We can't use that again. But it can be triggered multiple times up until you use it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Got it.
Director Calvis, at that point, takes the data pad and slowly slides it under his trembling fingers, and he nods and says, "Okay, all right. It seems like you 4 are on the level at the very least." Takes out of his inner coat pocket a code cylinder. Plugs the cylinder into your data pad. Does this in full view of you, So that way you see he's not like uploading a virus or anything terrible like that. It's very clearly the manifest of everything that he's trying to send to the Alliance. It also includes schematics on 3 of Blast Tech's upcoming products. He is essentially giving the Alliance the ability to manufacture these weapons outside of corporate control. The cargo itself appears to be in a warehouse in Nar Shaddaa with orders to be transferred over towards your docking bay based upon a signal that you can now send out from your data pad. He basically uploads that information to it. All you have to do is push the button and droids will bring the cargo to your ship.
Do we know approximately how long the transfer will take?
The transfer for a shipment of this size may take upwards of an hour.
That's what I thought. So if we need an hour, at least I would say 2 hours to be safe. We need a safe window of about 2 hours.
But either way, the first agenda is cleared, and you have the deal. The Alliance has the information and the equipment that you were sent here to get.
Now let's
One
make sure
down.
we can get out of here safely. And that he didn't sell us out.
Now, with that said, that's a good point here. While your tactics, again, are confront, snoop, gel, and support, also keep in mind that those are just generic terms. So that way, it doesn't have to be that confronting is literally like talking to someone. It could be punching someone out. You know, snooping does not have to be like eavesdropping. It can be fast talking someone or things of that nature, pickpocketing someone for information. So keep in mind, again, you can interact with the scene in more ways than one as we go forward into the next agendas. Okay? Okay, so I believe 2 relationships were triggered and ready to go at this point. Would either Jess or Stars like to invoke it and kick ass at this scene right now?
I think I'm going to hang back for a bit, actually.
Okay.
So I see we still have one more thing that needs to be filled for the arranging the deal.
No.
We're done.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
the red box around it, like that's where it ends.
Okay, so sorry, my bad.
No worries. No worries.
All right.
I know that that's not very clear. But yes, there is still confirm the defector will not betray us, which is going to take 2 hits to clear, and then ensure we are not in more danger, which is going to take 3.
I will totally use my relationship trigger on confirming that the defector will not screw us over.
Okay. With that said, because your danger is pretty low, I would recommend at the very least going with the confront on this, because confront automatically gives you 3 successes, plus your 5 from this will just give you 8.
All right, I can do a confront.
1, 2, 3 for the danger. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you are in the same spot as Ace was earlier. Do you perhaps have a talent that you would like to apply here that will push that over and you'll get both successes? You'll clear out this entire agenda by yourself.
So a talent that would apply. Heightened sense.
Heightened senses. Okay.
Hmm.
And is that a force ability by chance, or is that a normal talent, just the thing you have?
It is a force ability. Jess thinks that she's just really good at figuring things out about people.
So that is going to count for 3 successes, and now the fun part of hyperdrive begins.
Okay.
You saved
Here
my
we go.
ass, is what happens.
Essentially. So when the first person in a scene uses a force power, not just a regular talent like Ace being incredibly charming, but an actual ability, a connection with the force, something comes into effect called the balance of fate, which you can see this nice, lovely bar down here, the hyperdrive logo. That is not just for show. So the balance of fate begins with the force being centered, which we represent by this yellow box surrounding that clashing lightsaber logo. Everyone's danger immediately goes down by 7.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Bulwark, you're fine.
Which for the rest of you is basically 0 danger. And Bulwark drops down to 2. The force flows. You can feel it opening up. You can read the eddies and currents between all of the people within this casino. As you stretch out your heightened senses, this place is an overwhelming hive of emotion, sound, noise, light, everything that you could possibly experience. Some of it is euphoric, some of it is certainly not, and it is hard to maintain your center within this rushing torrent. But you are able to steady yourself in order to complete your goal here. So, how do you do this? Working in the Force, working in your curiosity relationship with Inatas, and working in your confront role, you finish out this scene. You finish out this agenda. What do you do?
I'm just going to. She sort of half closes her eyes, places a hand on the necklace that she thinks is making this happen. Then she opens her eyes wide, just to kind of freak out the guy, and says, "Whose side are you really on?"
Nice.
At that, Calvis can't tell if it's the alcohol speaking or just the intensity and directness with which you speak to him. And he openly admits, I'm on my own. They did give me an offer.
Who's they?
He leans in conspiratorially. Mosca the Hutt. He owns this place.
Oh, of course.
Things like this would be very useful to the cartels. I'm about to lose my entire career at Blast Tech. My livelihood is pretty much up in ruins. My family is going to have to go into hiding. You have to understand, credits are going to be hard to come by in the next few days.
I'm sure we can make a better offer, both in terms of credits and contacts.
You're saying that the Alliance can pay out more than the Hutts?
Your family will be better able to sleep at night knowing that they're not living off of money from the blood of innocents.
Mm-hmm.
Jess, you were going to say?
Oh, I was just nodding along with what Ace was saying.
Okay.
Ace just like fades into the conversation, drops a liner, and like fades back out into the crowd again.
So, with that said, you clear out this agenda. Calvis thinks about it for a moment and then puts his head deep into his hands and nods and says, it's a spouse and 2 daughters on Commonor. You can assure me they'll be safe.
I can.
And with this, Initas actually pulls out an ID card from his jacket pocket and kind of shows it to Director Calvis, and it's a weathered old ID tag for a much younger looking man with the logo of Sinar Flight Systems on it.
Hello.
And he says, "You are not the first." And he just tucks it back away.
He nods at that, and for the first time through the drunken haze, you see that his smile is genuine at seeing that apparently were others like him that have made this jump. Yes.
Can can Starsea quickly kind of whisper to Inatas, like, maybe we should get him off the planet to make sure that nobody else gets to him?
Quiet nod and just says, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, then Starsea's gonna go and be like, here, come along, Jess can explain some more things that we gotta do. We can show you around a little bit.
He nods, and when he finally stands, you realize that he leans very heavily on Inatas, basically like throwing all of his weight onto you because he can't walk properly right now.
The man is unmoved and unimpressed.
But as he does so, for clearing out the agenda, he does look over and he very cautiously lays a hand on Jess's shoulders, and he says, "I didn't think I was going to get an offer like this from people like you. The Alliance doesn't have the best reputation right now, but I could see a lot of that is just chaff on the Holonet. Thank you."
You're welcome.
So, what happens next? I believe we still have stars to go in this round.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is gone, correct?
We're just trying to get out at this point, which I think was Star's objective anyway.
Yep, so that will be under the ensure we are not in danger at this point. So at this case, things like this may be making sure that nobody was eavesdropping on you, making sure you don't have any pursuers as you're leaving this place. Director Calvis mentioned that the Hutts are aware of what's going on here, so it may be like befuddling them to make sure that they don't follow you or that they don't know where the cargo is, things like that.
I would recommend going reckless progress because I have hella support. So I'll save your ass. Be reckless.
If the
I have an idea for a distraction that will get us clear of this place.
I have a very, very Okay, so here's a good distraction that I think might be really amusing if it works, and it does count as reckless progress.
Let's hear it.
So Stars is gonna move over to kind of like stand, like kind of help prop the guy up a little bit against Bulwark, and just kind of like look at I guess it would be actually look at Ace and be like, can you and I take the long way around to the ship?
Sure.
Then look back up at Bulwark and be like, take him directly. And once they get out the door, their Stars is gonna kind of like throw their little like scarf over his head. He probably won't even care. He's drunk as hell. And then just kind of
plays with it,
shapeshift into him, and then just kind of be like pat Bulwark on the shoulder and be like, thanks buddy, and just kind of wander off in the opposite direction
with Ace. Oh fuck, that's cool. All right, so big question, are you using your relationship to do this? Your rivalry with Ace.
Yeah, actually, because I asked Ace to come with me to take the long way around. I think that
So good.
would be a good way to use that, I think.
So your danger goes up by 3, but check it. Here's what happens. So 1, 2, 3 progress immediately because you're using confront. You're using reckless progress here, so that's a hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because you're throwing a relationship on this. That's 2 hits, and then 1, 2 because you're using your metabolic transfiguration power here. So mark off the 2 fatigue on your character sheet as you use that, but that's an additional 2 progress. It doesn't get you the hit, but it does get you that much closer. But that's 2 hits. You already have 2 on the ensure we are not in danger. You only need 1 more to actually clear this out.
Okay.
So with that, as you provide this amazing distraction of shapeshifting, and they buy it, they totally buy it, and that's when you notice, all of you notice, that there are indeed 4 cartel foot soldiers that are following Ace and Calvis. Yes. Calvis. But yes, it is 2 Weequay, a human, and a Gamorrean that appear to be moving at a pretty clip pace towards trying to intercept Ace and Stars. So you do realize the huts know. You do realize that they're probably not going to take kindly to the fact that you're trying to get out of here with their cargo. So we go to the beginning of the next round. Danger up by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I am just going to basically put it as whoever would like to end the scene, just end the scene, because if you confront, even if you get a total wash, it's still 3 successes. That's all you need to get the last success. So
I have.
Ooh. Okay, no, go ahead. I just did a thing.
I have a neat way to get the heat off of me and Calvis.
I mean, I've got a semi cinematic way of ending this with just a flat out confront, because it doesn't matter. Once we skip to the next scene, danger resets anyway.
You go. I want to see what Tall Duncana does.
why don't we make it a bit of a group effort here? Ace lead, and then everyone else follows up on Ace's lead and like
hell yeah,
helps deal with this. Is that good?
Yes.
I'm going to simulate the body language of somebody who's had a little too much to drink and is, thinks they're sober but not. Therefore, I've got Calvis's arm around one shoulder, like, 2 buddies who've just had a great night out, and I'm going to quote unquote accidentally wander down an alley, which from our earlier entry into the area, I know that there's like a narrow passageway where we can just kind of once Calvis drops the disguise and possibly shifts into something smaller, we can just slip through the passageway up and over the buildings, and we are gone.
Doesn't it have to be a confront, though?
Oh, thank you.
I'm not sure. Well, I mean, my confront idea was we could possibly kill them in the alley.
God,
and
Ace.
you would just see like a hand fall out of the shadow with like like something rolls away out of the hand or something. That would be the cinematic option.
And in this case, confront still applies because the reckless danger is allowing yourself to be cornered before making an escape attempt. Because if something were to go wrong in that case, well, both of you could be in extreme danger.
I'll just whisper to them, copy me, and we'll go up and over the rooftops.
So I'm going to X for the roll. Just basically don't get a bunch of negatives and you're good.
Okay. My dice have been...
You were going to jinx that so hard.
Don't you
3
dare.
botches.
Okay. 1, 2... Oh no, that's good. 2 successes. Yes.
You clear the scene.
No botches.
Okay. The scene is cleared. So with that, if Stars is okay with Ace's plan.
Yeah. No, they'll follow.
Though the group of 4 make their way into the alley, you see electro batons and vibroblades coming out as they do, and then just a sudden amount of very confused grunting in Gamorrean and the weak rays and the human arguing about what the criff just happened. And Inatas and Jess, is there any reaction that you have to this? Any last action you'd like to take before we leave here?
Since Jess and I are taking a different route, Inatas notices the same couple Rhodians that had been talking in their comms earlier had followed us instead. So Inatas just stops abruptly in the middle of the street, looks at them, and very conspicuously reloads his multi-tool, which is to say it's a repeating blaster rifle, 4 barrels, with an attached grenade launcher. Just spins the barrel, looking dead-eyed at these 2 weaklings, and then just keeps walking.
The antenna palps on the Rhodians go straight up, and you see them take the very next alleyway and hustle their way down it. And Jess, what would you like to do to finish this entire thing?
I mean, right now I just want to high-five Bulwark because that was badass.
Then if that's the case, you manage to make your way back to the docking bay where your ship is through messing with hut communications and throwing the scent off of your trail. You delay them long enough to get all of the cargo onto your ship. You get Calvis aboard your ship. Ace, you don't even wait for docking clearance from Narshada at this point. You kick on the engines to the cat's paw. Inatas, you are just so satisfied at the purr coming from that reactor as the ship tilts towards skyward into a city skyline filled with neon lights and bright holograms that you pass right through before burning upwards until there's only stars. The rest of the crew slides into their seats, make sure that everything is set to go. Jess plugs in to the navicomputer the coordinates where you are to meet your transfer ship to drop off all of these supplies. With a moment's hesitation, Ace and Jess put their hands on the hyperdrive controls, throw the lever back, the stars stretch back over the cockpit until there is only swirling blue. And that is your first scene completed in hyperdrive. Good job, team.
Well done, guys.
That was so good.
So,
Try.
no, you did great. All of you did.
Amazing.
This is wonderful. Everyone really took the system and ran with it as to like what you could do to interact. I love it. So, with that said, we are going to take a very short break here on Welcome to the Party. We will be back in roughly 10 minutes. We have some more hyperdrive action after this. The crew is going to go ahead and do a little bit of spaceship action, if that's your jam here in Star Wars. Before we head on over to break, we do want to give a quick shout out to our patrons. Our patrons make everything that you're seeing here possible and more. Welcome to the Party does lots of great things, and these individuals have helped contribute to that mission by being members of our Host with the Most tier. This is a special amount of love and thanks to Jack C, Nerdy T, Michelle E, Abigator, Anino, and Andy T. Thank you so much for your constant support, and to all of our patrons. While we head on over to break, why don't you head on over to roll20.net/start/WTTP and sign up for your free account today, where you can go ahead and play straight out of your web browser, Dungeons & Dragons, Call of Cthulhu, Hyperdrive if you want to come and pick up Airlock, which you definitely should, and tons of other great games with very, very easy setup, and especially in current times, it's actually a really good way to play. So, with that said, we will be back in 10 minutes, and we will have more Hyperdrive right after these not commercial messages.
don't know how to do this.
That was
Okay.
so good.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot. Your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware. It's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a buck or $5. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, but also every 500 bits or a tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent, and every 1000 bits or tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the party. You are joining us here for a one-shot of side quests during Star Wars month, where we are kicking things off with Hyperdrive, a conversion for the system Airlock. When last we left off with the crew of the Cat's Paw, they had just managed to bring aboard an Imperial defector, a high-ranking director of Blast Tech, a weapons-producing corporation. Aboard their ship is now a frankly just atrocious amount of blasters, tabana gas, power cells, things that the Alliance needs in order to equip its soldiers in order to continue the fight against the Empire. However, they have been told that they are not the ones actually delivering this equipment. They are just one of many light cargo haulers that is bringing these supplies towards ships that are basically mobile bases that are meant to go around to different spots in the Alliance, drop off what they need, and then jump out very, very quickly. Your ship is too small to facilitate that. Instead, you have been given hyperdrive coordinates way off of any of the known hyperspace lanes, out into the deep void where most ships don't really go. When you finally pull out of hyperspace, you hear the whine of the hyperdrive cool down, space reverts before you into swirling black and bright stars, and in front of you is an ice field. Massive amounts of stellar ice in large chunks just hanging crystalline as if perfectly suspended here, except they're not. It doesn't take long before one of the chunks moves away, and behind it you see the holed-out wreck of a Venator-class Star Destroyer. And beyond that, a Recitin class from the Clone Wars, and beyond that, more and more ships, decades old at this point, that have clearly been left here ever since the end of the Clone Wars. This was a battleground of some sorts, and beyond the ice field and beyond the starship graveyard, you see, surely it couldn't be a planet. Planets are not crescent-shaped, but it is. One that must have suffered tremendously during the conflict, ripped apart by turbo laser fire and left adrift like this. It is a haunting reminder of the devastation of the end of that conflict and everything that the Alliance is fighting to prevent going forwards. Sliding through the ice and drifting around derelict Arc 170 starfighters. You are scanning through when Jess finally picks up a return signal on a very narrow band frequency that you have been told to set to the moment you arrived in this sector. It is an Alliance blink code, a very simple, essentially Morse code. That is giving you coordinates to feed into your navicomputer.
Okay.
Yeah, so Star's back at the shield, watching the shield controls, is just kind of going, are we there yet?
We're in an ice field. Raise the shields.
Okay. Very, very easily just, if there's one thing Stars actually knows how to do on a ship, it's watch shields.
Has Calvis had enough time to sober up?
We'll say yes. It's been quite a few hours actually in transit. He's currently at the point of, dear Force, why did I do this? I will never drink again. I know that that's a lie, but I will continue to say it.
Oh.
He's been in and out of the fresher a lot.
Yeah. Are anyone else on the crew the type to like drink at all in the slightest
Yes.
amount? Okay.
Jess is the type that would get like water and put like an olive in it and pretend that it's a martini so that she can still like maintain her awareness while appearing socially acceptable.
Amazing.
Ace
I feel
has an
like-
alarming amount of tolerance. You're not quite sure where all that alcohol goes. It says it's to make you differ.
Does Ace still have the horrifyingly strong calf?
Oh yes, always.
All right. In that case,
You've given him that, haven't you?
no. In fact, what Anitas has done is locked away supplies of both the calf and the alcohol. This man's staying bone sober. He is not.
Inatus thinks he has locked away supplies of the calf.
Mostly
One
because...
person has access. I am not letting this man puke all over the ship.
Oh no, Stars just occasionally want some caffeine.
This is not just caffeine. This is instant sobriety in a cup.
Yeah, and that's
It's
a good thing to have around
if you
someone
catch
who's
the
a
Discord reference,
shapeshifter.
it's basically Clatchian coffee from the Discworld.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's murderously strong.
Which is a good thing to have around a shapeshifter that can mostly hold their liquor as long as they're shapeshifted into something that can hold its liquor.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
scared to think of what would happen if Ace gave you any of that stuff. You'd probably be vibrating between shapeshifts for like a good half hour.
Probably.
As you slide around these massive chunks of ice, Jess, you realize that the sensors of the cat's paw are having a little bit of trouble out here. Between the ice causing a bit of issues, you also know that the wreckage of all these ships has been leaking a massive amount of radiation into the area for years at this point. It's playing a lot of havoc with your sensors. There's a lot of scramble, there's a lot of interference. Several times you have to quickly take off your headset as a feedback goes through and kind of pings your ears really, really loud.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, through all the static, you get back a message.
Okay.
Hello out there. Cat's paw. We've been waiting for you long enough.
We're here.
Finally, uploading coordinates to you now. This is Captain Bakar Ortzi of the Quasar Fire Lucky Break.
All right. Thank you, Captain Orzi.
No trouble on the assignment, I hope?
We got out just fine.
Oh, was there any doubt?
Yes. You hear from somewhere in the bowels of the ship.
Jess is just not even bothering to mute the line, just sort of turns in the direction of Bulwark's voice and is just like, I told you things were going to be okay, and we handled it.
There's silence from the other end of the commo until eventually it squawks open again and goes, well, if that isn't the Alliance's motto at this point, I don't know what is. You're the last ship of ours to actually come in. It's a good thing we managed to meet you here in time. We were actually due for a refit at Suisse Van some time ago. Hyperdrive kept on malfunctioning, but seems to be in proper working order now.
Well, let's just...
Question, GM, where are we taking the parts to? Where are we taking the guns to?
To this ship. So,
okay.
Yeah, Captain Ortzi identified that he is aboard a Quasar Fire, which is like a massive, not massive, it's actually quite small. It's a small carrier that is normally designed to carry starfighters, lots and lots and lots of starfighters. But as you finally make your approach, you swing around an old battered acclimator frigate, and there's the Quasar Fire sitting there on a very low power setting, so it's very, very hard to detect at this point. And as you approach, you see its hangar bays are lit up for you. They're certainly big enough to fit the cat's paw inside. And during your approach, you see that, firstly, most of the guns have been stripped off of this thing. Not that Quasar Fires are very heavily armed to begin with. Two, it does not have its fighter racks either. the entire ship has basically been converted into one massive, very quick cargo freighter that is designed to just hit hyperspace, drop off what it needs, and then get the hell out of there.
Duly noted. I lean over and into the comm, go, permission to land.
Permission absolutely granted, 5. Welcome home.
Good to hear from you, 6. And I bring it in.
So, you land. After getting settled, you're able to drop the cargo ramps of the cat's paw and hover lifts and droids and regular personnel immediately begin going into the ship and unloading everything that they possibly can as quickly as they can, stacking it up with other plasteel containers that are riddled all throughout the ship. Approaching you is a Zabrak, a colonial Zabrak of a more like tan and brown complexion. He has very traditional Giotto, leaves very sharp Iridonian lines across his features, filed down horns instead of like these really long, like sharp ones that you might see on others. Upon seeing the crew, you see that his pace quickens noticeably. But he keeps a amount of professional courtesy, standing at parade rest as he gets close enough. So, and he looks over your shoulder at Director Calvis. I didn't see him on the manifest. You are muted, Glenn.
Sorry. Stars is just like, oh, we were just making sure that considering his job, he'd be quite helpful, and we wouldn't want him in other people's pockets.
Well, I guess the Alliance isn't exactly up for being beggars here when it comes to who we invite aboard. We'll make sure that we send a message out to High Command, make sure we get his family out from wherever it is that they are.
Commodore, wife, 2 daughters. Ace is like melts it out of the I suppose from behind Hinata's most likely. Ace is like a full foot shorter than Hinata's. So
He's 2.
You would be a pretty good point of cover for them.
There's a point where Ortsy stops for a moment and goes, "You know I can see your tail."
The tail just like whisked back into cover.
Commodore, we actually have rebel cells on planet. There's a certain Aaron Kraken that's been causing all sorts of hell for the Imperials there.
Good man, that one.
Indeed. We'll do what we can to get in touch with his resistance cell and get his family out of there. You have my word.
Motion Calvis over. The good doctor here will help get your family to safety.
I mean, I don't really exactly see what my PhD has to do with this sort of activity, but...
It could come in helpful. I mean, better working for us than them.
It's not one of the useful PhDs. Where's the hyperdrive? I'm fixing it.
If you're going to do anything mechanically, I'll come with you. I've got my own repair kit, and I've been doing this just as long.
Unfortunately, I don't think that we can actually accept that type of help right now. We have our own orders. There's another shipment that we need to pick up on Sullust before we make our way out of this area. But all of a sudden, klaxons begin going off inside the quasar fire. The hangar begins going off with bright red lights. You hear announcements ringing throughout the ship, echoing in the massive hangar bay. Alert! Imperial fighters detected. To battle stations. Prepare for combat.
Lucky break my ass. You're a sitting duck.
Let's go. We got to keep them off long enough for the cruiser to get clear.
Yeah, let's get back in the ship and...
We'll provide you as much cover as we can, but we have to get out of here. We'll try and get the Lucky Break out of the field to get to hyperspace as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Shut up. We're the cover.
ones providing you cover.
Imagine we say it at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's like you get him and the goods out, and it just Stars just immediately runs back inside and is immediately flicking on the shield panel.
Okay.
As everyone books in, what is Ortzi doing?
Ortzi is currently in a comm link giving orders to the bridge as everyone else is dashing off.
All right. As he says that, Ace just goes, "Good luck," and as they turn to head back up the ramp to the Cat's Claw, just tail flicks out and lightly smacks him on the ass as they go.
He literally cuts the feed and calls out and says, "You better come back alive from this one." And
you just see like one claw hand just gives a thumbs up and then disappears back into the ship again.
Yeah.
The reactor for the Cat's Paw growls as the ship launches itself out of the quasar fire to go and defend it. I am going to go ahead and shift us over into a crew scene as Jess picks up that it is not just ties in the area, unfortunately.
Oh, crap.
Though your scanners are on the fritz, you will very easily detect that mixed in with this is a Raider-class corvette, a very small but very fast and hard-hitting Imperial scout ship. And lumbering through the ice fields looks like a giant shell bug, essentially, an escort carrier. Not a very heavily armed ship, but one that is basically designed to carry an overwhelming amount of TIE fighters. Given enough time, it will drop so many that you will be very quickly overwhelmed.
I think I know our target.
Yeah,
So-
you gotta take out that Corvette before it can jump to hyperspace and take out that escort carrier before it can jump all over us.
The ties don't have hyperspaces, so we're focused on the big ships.
So here's how this works. You'll see here that we have light units. For all of these, their type is DF. They're dog fighters. These are TIE fighters. They don't do anything special except every round, one of them will add 2 danger to one of you. And they each can do that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 danger total that they can throw around. But they can only apply 2 danger at a time to only one person. You'll see down here under heavy, you see that you have 2 of those set up. The first one over here has the types of FC, Fleet Command. The danger of every fighter is +1 until it's destroyed. It is also a hangar bay. It creates 1 fighter every round until it is destroyed. This is the escort carrier. You'll see it too can attack back. It can hit all of you for 2 danger. The Raider class Corvette is over here. This has heavy shields and negates 1 hit on itself at the beginning of every round. And it has 2 different attacks. It can either do 6 danger to 1 of you or do 3 danger to 2 of you. It is a very fast, very dangerous ship. It is more than a match for the Cat's Paw on its own.
Oh boy.
Question
So,
to the
yes.
DM. Do we have torpedoes or anything like that?
So with that, that is all part of your tactics. So you can decide, going after the TIE fighters, you're using the turrets to use the laser cannons aboard the Cat's Paw to take those out. If you're strafing one of the frigates, you can say that you're arming a proton torpedo and firing that instead.
I have a thought for getting rid of the hangar bay option. It's called the Lauren Spitball.
Oh my God. Well, we will get to that. We will get to that in a brief moment here. So the Cat's Paw rockets out of the Lucky Break. The Lucky Break immediately begins turning as fast as it possibly can to get the hell out of the ice field and get into open space where it can finally make the jump to hyperspace safely. The ties power towards your ship and begin strafing it. So they are going to do 2, 4.
Wait.
Yes.
So Stars has an ability that is Voidborn, reduce danger by 1 every round during crew.
Initas also
great
has
ability.
that.
Wow, both of you do. Okay, so I will go ahead and I will make a little note here so I remember that because that's going to come in handy. So danger is applied first and then you reduce. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So both Bulwark and Stars. So danger is applied first, then we reduce.
Mhm.
Good? Good.
Round.
Okay. Let's see. 2, 4, 6 to Stars as the ties come in and just pummel into the shields as much as they possibly can. 2, 4 to Engineering as the reactor begins to whine at this massive power expenditures. Those heavy cannons on those TIE fighters just rip into the shields. We will say 6 immediately to Ace as the Corvette opens up with a salvo of concussion missiles and laser cannon fire, trying to box you in, cut off your avenues of escape, stop you from getting away. And then 2 to everyone as the lighter guns on the escort frigate do their best to add into the massive amount of fire that's coming at you. So we start off with everyone at varying levels of danger, both Ace and Stars in the most danger of everyone at the moment. The pilot and the shield systems are very, very strained, trying to keep you alive here. So this works yes?
Systems Whisper, the systems under your command never falter, even when damaged, starved for power, or jammed. Maintain tactics successes apply to danger and fatigue.
So when you use the maintain tactic, that will come in handy because you can use your fatigue more often.
I have a feeling I'm doing that almost right away.
We shall see.
I have 5 in compensate, so.
Nice. So both Stars and Bulwark drop their danger by 1 immediately for Voidborn. This is nothing new to you when it comes to dealing with power surges throughout the ship, trying your best to maintain your focus while dealing with all this. You've got this.
This is my second war.
So our targeting wheel works exactly like it did in the Intrigue Scene, except now we have targets to take down. So every single time you apply a hit to a target. It adds 1. The fighters, you can see, take 2. The bigger ships down here take 4 in order to completely destroy. Make sense?
Yep.
Got it.
We all good? Action.
I'll go last.
I have a very high push rating, so I can score a lot of. I have a 5 in push.
Yeah.
Push. I will compensate.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ace, get us out of here.
Remind me, who has control of the torpedoes?
At that point, it would be the sensors operator. Jess would be controlling the targeting computer to manage your heavy ordnance.
Okay. You know what? Let's do this. Even though this is technically a large ship maneuver, I'm going to duplicate it with our ship, and I'm going to literally just go Akbar / right down the middle.
Okay.
What that is,
It
for
forces a starfighter line to break and come. And it gives whoever's on gunnery position basically a field of fire, clear field of fire. So
we'll say since you don't actually have a gunner, we'll say that the turrets are basically automated. Like anyone on the ship can use the targeted computer to lock on immediately and fire. So
okay. In that case, I'm going to just push. I have 5. My rating in push is a 5. And I have Hotshot, which gives me +2 progress per success.
Oh, damn. Okay, so the thing is, your danger is now 11. So if someone does not bring Ace down, Ace will be in.
I
also have a passage in this one, by the way.
Oh, gods. All right.
You watch me build this character. You know exactly what
I knew exactly what you were doing, yes. Roll them bones.
Best pilot in the galaxy.
Oh my god, there's a crit.
A 10?
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 successes, no botches, and one of those is a crit, so that's 5.
Okay, so well, it's you have a passage, you mean, right? You have a crew passage?
Yes.
What is your crew passage?
My crew passage is X-Wing jockey.
Nice.
I am a snub fighter pilot.
So I believe nobody else had rival with Ace aside from Stars, correct?
Yeah, but I used that already.
But you
in the
used
last
it,
one.
so unfortunately no good here. All right, so I have to actually math here because of the way that this works. So you
Actually,
rolled.
Someone have me as. I seem to remember
Oh yeah,
someone
who is?
had Ward because now that
I have you as Ward, which triggers my relationship.
Yes, it does.
You go before I do.
So
Okay.
let's resolve this roll first. So 4 successes rolled
Yes,
immediately.
and 1 was a crit.
Well, we'll get to that. 4 successes rolled. 4 successes rolled doubled because you're a hot shot. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus the passage. 1. Plus push. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. You just got 3 hits on 1 roll. Do you have any of your abilities that has a rating 3? Do you have a force power that can push this to 4 hits?
No, Ace is
You
a
don't.
strictly non-force character.
Would you like to use a talent anyway to get someone as close as possible to that next hit?
Sure, you know what? Finesse.
Finesse. You can only apply your hits to one target unless you destroy it and then can move on. Where are you applying these 3 hits?
Get the hangar bay one.
I'm gonna go for the fleet command and apply the hits there. I want to get rid of that hangar bay so we don't get swarmed by more craft.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It didn't take it out. Not yet. But almost. Ace, this is miraculous. You're working in your passage, you're working in your finesse, you're a hot shot, like you had 4 successes on the dice. Narrate this. What happens in this dogfight?
They were not expecting resistance. They were not expecting somebody as crazy as this to just come out and go straight for them, straight down the throat, so to speak. So Ace is going to go heading in straight for them while the hangar bay is still disgorging TIE fighters, and as best as I can, aim the turbo laser fire straight inside into the hangar bay to try and get through the MagCon field and just knock out as much of their ship systems as I can. And as I come in to go up and over to give other people a better shot at, say, comms array or shield generators.
Okay. Sure enough, this works beautifully. You can already see the shields on the escort carrier flicker out and die in localized areas. Like fires begin to bloom inside parts of it. Not enough to completely tear apart the ship, but it's very clear this vessel can't focus on anything other than damage control at this point. They were not expecting a light freighter to just charge. Apparently that's like the Empire's weakness. I'm realizing they really underestimate freighter pilots that are just like, I could go fucking toe to toe with a Star Destroyer at me.
Imagine
Star Destroyer.
I imagine also that Ace is like flying this reasonably large ship like a snub fighter.
Yes.
Which means that at some point Initas thought to have everyone strap in, like full on like 5-6 point harness.
Yes.
Because ship's gravity can't handle this. You need to be strapped in.
Yeah, we've probably like lowered gravity, if anything, to boost power to engines.
Compensators should probably dial down a bit, just a bit. Okay,
Too much.
So
also, as a side note, Ace has a prehensile tail, so they're flying with literally both hands, both feet, and a tail.
Oh
yes.
So with that said, the maneuvers that you pull are erratic. The Empire is having a very hard time stopping you from doing this severe amount of damage very quickly. However, it does mean that they redouble their efforts at this point. Your danger is increasing because that Corvette has basically isolated you and has decided we will deal with the Quasar fire later. Kill this shit.
Bring it.
So when does the -2 to danger from me and Inatas apply?
I already applied it, and it was it's -1.
Okay.
It's -1. I went ahead and already applied that.
Cool.
So I believe we have a relationship that triggered.
Yes, we do. So since Ace is my ward, and they are now in danger. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Yes. Yes, so since they are now in danger, I get 5 automatic successes on my next roll.
You
So that makes me want to do reckless progress.
Go reckless. I will compensate you.
Well, no, I'm fine on danger because as long as I don't have to roll,
Your shield operator's just like, oh my god, right?
I will save your ass. That is my job.
So let's go for reckless progress.
All right.
Let's do this shit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. Do you have a force power that you can use? Because it may trigger the balance of fate and drop everyone down. However, it does mean that you will get 3 hits on this tactic.
Unless command presence would count as one.
In that case, I would say that's more up to you. Is it command presence as in like it's like a battle meld or a battle meditation kind of thing? Or is it command presence as in Jess is literally just like that, like charismatic and forceful in personality?
Charisma bolstered by reputation, so I don't think it's a force related one.
Okay, I'm saying I will let you decide if it is a force one or not. If you'd rather it not be, that's fine.
This one I kind of don't think it would be.
Okay, you could still throw it onto the roll because then it gets the next person who goes that much closer to their next progress. Or to their next hit.
Sure, I'll put it on, but...
So, mark off 2 fatigue on your sheet, and how does your commanding progress, or commanding presence, along with everything else, damage the Empire? What ships are you targeting?
I mean, I'm targeting the hangar bay one.
So you take that out, but you have another hit. So now you can distribute that hit either to one of the fighters or to the Corvette.
To the Corvette. Let's take out the biggest threat first.
Okay. What happens? You working in your commanding presence and the ship. What do you do to help take this out and land a hit on this Corvette?
Probably just very encouragingly shout to Ace, "You've got this!"
And Ace absolutely does have this. As the two of you working in coordination, Ace is able to use sublight thrusters and maneuvers to basically drift the ship around to face the injured hangar bay that you saw earlier. Jess, you punch in a torpedo and launch it directly into its unshielded belly. And the ship rips apart from the inside at that point, to the point where the explosive debris slams into the Corvette nearby, throwing it off course. You see its shields flicker on that side before restabilizing.
Beautiful.
From the cockpit, you hear, "Hell yeah, we do."
Who is up next? Also, if anyone has either Ace or, if anyone has Jess as a curiosity, your relationship is triggered.
Oh. I do.
Do the power of feels continue?
I mean,
be reckless.
Yeah.
Do it.
The power of feels. So, Stars knows that Jess is force sensitive, even if they're not great at explaining what that means. Because I feel like they probably tried once or twice and were like, you know what? I'm not the best person to ask about this. So that gives me 5 automatic successes, right?
5 automatic successes apply to any tactic that you wish. And if
how's
you...
how's our danger doing?
So your danger is currently at 7. So if you
Your
push,
danger will be handled.
Yes. So Inatos has, I believe, the ability to reduce the danger of 2 crewmates at the same time with a compensate.
Yes.
Okay. So tactically, it would be good to push. You'll go up to 10. It'll be scary for a moment, but then Inatos can bring both Ace and Stars back down.
Also,
you're my ward, so
it would trigger the relationship and basically give 5
I forgot about
successes
that.
to do that.
Okay.
This is the chain reaction of feels. This is what it does.
Well, I also, so does Voidborn reduce 1 every round to only me, or?
Only you.
Yes, only you.
Cool. Okay. Well, that means even if I hit 10, I'll be okay. Hopefully.
You can't end the round at 10. That's the thing. You cannot end the round at 10. However, again, Inatas has got your back on that.
Yeah. So I want to push.
Yeah, you do.
I feel like with Systems Whisper, I feel like knowing the shields, they'd be able to see when the shields flicker on the Corvette, and just one of my I think this is the time to burn this. So I get 5 automatic successes.
Yes, you do.
And then I roll?
No. So instead of rolling, you get 5 successes. So it basically treats it as if you had gotten all 5 of your dice as a success on the roll.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to use Overdrive.
Oh, shit.
And I want to use Telekinesis and Synchronicity.
So that's 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 2, 3. So you can actually take out the Corvette on this roll.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you destroy it. You destroy it in this one shot.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I'm doing it. I'm gonna be at fatigue 8.
I'm so sorry. Your fatigue actually reset at the beginning of this scene.
Oh, okay. So I'll be at 6.
You'll be at 6, which is not great, but also you're using a force power, so everyone's danger actually drops 2 by 7, which actually frees up Inatas to do other cool stuff.
So I feel like what I'm trying to think of the way. So we do have like gunners turrets on the ship, right?
Yes, the ship does have laser cannons on the top and the bottom.
So I feel like
the turrets on the Falcon.
I feel like one of the things that so I'm going to use synchronicity works in kind of the way that you can kind of feel things out, which Stars is usually bad at, but they can do it once in a while. And would run like yelling, "Don't touch the shield controls," run straight to the back of the ship, like not even waiting for them to like be able to stop themselves. And when they see the shields flicker, immediately take the like shattered debris from the other ship and just go whoop, right in between those shields.
Yes.
Just like feel out, okay, how many pieces can I grab? All right.
You stretch out with the force. Your feelings and mind grasp around these massive hulks of a starship. But to the Force, it does not matter how large something is. You are able to shape them together into a massive projectile, and with one final push, send it careening into the solar panels on the side of this Corvette. It smashes one off, careens into the side of it, dents it until you see its elongated snout bend and then break. You crack the ship in half and leave it drifting into the ice field. It smashes into one of these massive blocks of frozen water, shatters that, sending the ties scattering for cover because they can't even afford to be clipped by this. The starship graveyard begins to break apart from the kinetic force that you've managed to unleash here. Both of the heavy ships are down. Holy shit. Okay.
Hell yeah! Good job, guys.
Okay.
Oh my fucking god.
We're so.
Don't know how Stars is going to drag themselves back to the shield console, but they'll figure that out somehow.
Oh yeah, after something like that, you can feel the exhaustion hit your body almost immediately. Drawing upon the force as heavily as you had to do so for this has definitely left you drained. And that's your overdrive. You now cannot use either synchronicity or telekinesis for the rest of the scene.
Yep.
But
It was worth it.
I was about to say that was
Yeah.
pretty amazing, to be honest. So that brings us to Bulwark. Bulwark, there are still 6 TIE fighters that are damned and determined to blow apart your ship. What do you do?
Oh boy. Because now they're doomed. They have no hyperspace. They have no hyperdrive. They can't go anywhere.
No,
They're gonna die fighting, which is bad.
that's how
All
the
right.
Empire do.
That's what the Empire does. All right. So my danger is nothing through some weird thing that I've seen Jedi do, and I don't like it. Always feels weird.
It does feel weird. Through the balance of fate, all of you can feel the manipulations of fate and destiny swirling about the cat's paw now. All of you interlinked as one giant sword pointed at these fighters.
My crew is gonna get
Is,
themselves killed. I am actually going to use a push because I
Let's
have
go.
no danger.
No, you don't.
So, does that trigger ward? Because isn't Starsea your ward?
You're not at 10 danger anymore.
Oh, that's right. I'm not. I
But you,
forgot
but
about that.
but Starsea was. It still counts because stars went up to 10 and then dropped. The 10 fulfills the trigger.
All right.
Push for 5.
Push for 5.
Push for 5.
With the thing.
Oh yeah.
5, 1, 2, 3. That's 2 hits. You could take out one fighter immediately.
I'm gonna throw in a talent I have, which is called I know how it can break. Because I was once a
Okay.
test engineer for these
For
very TIE
CNR
fighters.
Oh,
for the
nice.
fighters.
This is what my job was. I know.
knew it.
Beautiful.
I know that the TIE fighters are very shoddily built.
Oh yes.
They didn't test these things very well. And once upon a time, I was yelling at all of my staff members, we need to double the budget for testing. But they never did that. So I know how they break. I'm going to throw that on there as well.
I'm sorry, but I just have like the flashback of like Enitas back at like CNR Fleet Systems headquarters. Like the repeater somehow still there, but like in like a corporate suit explaining like
It's not a suit, it's like a rumpled polo. And slacks.
my God, this is beautiful.
And, like-
Okay. How do you take out this fighter?
All right. Oh boy, these people are gonna get themselves killed. What I actually do is I have one of the autocannons target not the TIE fighters, but one of the ice asteroids, and just vaporize it. Because the odd thing about the engines is that unless there's some kind of solar power attached, The engines actually burn themselves out faster than the panels can generate power if there's shade. So if you just have a giant chain reaction of asteroid, 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 all of a sudden, these ties are going to run out of power within 30 seconds. And they slowly just burn themselves out, including their life support, and they just drift.
Aw.
Oops.
And that tie is lost to this graveyard. Just another shell that will never escape this place.
And this is why Inatas and Ace get along so well.
With that said, there are still 3 TIE fighters left. 3. I'm bad at math. There are 5 TIE fighters left. Wow.
I was gonna say, man, we're doing a lot better than I thought we were.
I am bad at math. That's all that is. So let's see. 1, 2. So let's see. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 as 2 fighters immediately strafe the cockpit of the cat's paw, chattering away at the frontal shields and trying to spook Ace off of target. We'll say, what would be a good one? Trying to think. We'll do 1, 2 to Jess, as now with all of this extra debris in the area, keeping track of things is getting even harder. There's so much movement through this ice field that was originally very, very still. The radiation leaks from now the destroyed TIE fighters, the destroyed Corvette, the destroyed escort carrier. It's just playing havoc with the sensors aboard the cat's paw. And we'll do 1, 2 to engineering, as focusing on trying to deal with these fighters is instead showing massive spikes of heat starting to build up inside the cat's paw. Despite the battle through space, the reactor is cycling power through the weapons, cycling power through the shield, cycling power through the engines because of Ace's flying style, to the point where it's starting to get really, really warm back there. With that said, we're going to introduce one tiny last mechanic at this point at the 0 hour here. As over the radio chatter, all of a sudden, instead of picking up the Imperial signals, you pick up an Alliance signal coming in very, very clear.
Oh, yay.
Friends.
Cat's Paw, this is Claw Squadron. Heard that you folks needed some assistance. We're here to clean some house. And on your sensors, Jess, you pick up 6 Incom T-65 X-Wings rushing into the ice field to protect the Quasar Fire and help draw these folks off of you. So, down here...
What do you think this is called?
Claw Squadron. So, Claw Squadron, you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner here under reinforcements, they count as a fighter wing. So a fighter wing can be triggered by anyone during their turn, but they can only be triggered once per round. So once someone uses them, you have to wait until the beginning of the round to use them again. And they either add 3 progress to whatever it is that you're doing, or they reduce your danger or someone else's danger by 3. So you can, So they're basically almost a free talent to add to your role. And you basically take control of the squadron and describe how they help you out in dealing with these TIE fighters. So, top of the round, who goes?
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Since some of my breaks are also force powers, that doesn't trigger the Balance of Fate?
It does not. Only very specifically the talents that are force powers.
Cool.
Yep.
Because, let's see. Inatas is my comrade.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do a scene with 2? Can I yell back and be like, give us powers to shields, 2 seconds?
Done.
And is just going to look up at Ace and look over at Ace from the shield console and be like, just aim for one of them and punch it.
Okay.
And I want to do push.
Jess is like, wait. All right, so you're pushing. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
and your danger. Go ahead and make that roll.
3 and what else am I doing?
If your rating is a 3.
Yeah, my rating's a 3.
So 3d10 plus 2d6.
All right, come on, let's hope this works because I have an idea for if it doesn't work, but I have an idea for if it doesn't work, but I would like it to work.
If it doesn't
3.
work, I think I've got you covered.
Yeah, I think we can make this work.
Let's do it.
If I trust you guys.
I don't trust any of you.
Oi,
I trust Ace.
Hey!
I am offended.
thank you.
All
Do
right.
you have a career passage?
I have a career passage, which is shield operator,
You're
because
look at that.
they were a shield operator for cargo ships where Jedi wanted those ships to get through. And I also have a break, which is walking deflector shield. It's another force push power, but I took it off of the bunker morph ability.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a really cool idea. Oh man, that's a
So
really
the
good
idea,
flavor.
the idea is they're using the extra power from Inatas hitting the generator and pushing the shields, and then also like, I think Jess probably feels this the most, but Ace is also right there. They just go like twist their hand like this and go, all right, go.
So if you want to work in somehow your metabolic transfiguration to assist in this, it will actually give you the second hit and you can take out a fighter right now. Otherwise, it's only one hit. You'll damage one, but you won't kill it.
Metabolic transfiguration.
You're shapeshifting.
There are some races that are more force sensitive than others.
That is true. There are a few.
I know that Gupin are force sensitive, but I don't know what others might be more.
Well,
Eldor might.
Keldor have a propensity towards it. Zabrax actually have a propensity towards it.
Hey, they're already there.
Keldor are known to be really good pilots.
Yes.
They will also suffocate temporarily.
Temporarily.
What's a little asphyxiation between friends?
Oh my.
How to be a very, very good friend.
Context. Oh,
Someone needs to clip that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Sure.
I just had the mental
in the
image of
room.
Stars like concentrating super hard and boop morphs into like a little Yoda.
Can I do that? Can I just be like, hi, I'm Yoda now?
You can.
Yes.
I mean, they know who, like, they've seen him before, and one of the only things, aside from accidental rancor,
accidental rancor still is the best. Okay.
Which I wish I had gotten to use, but one of the only
I
other
know.
things that Stars is good at is mimicking species that they have seen and been in the vicinity of. And they definitely know Yoda.
So you mimic the Yoda. And how does that grant you your 2 final successes here in order to take out this fighter?
Gupin are excessively good they're excessively good shifters in how they mimic. It's one of the only reasons why they can actually make themselves, because normally they're about 3 feet tall. It's one of the only reasons they can actually make themselves bigger or smaller. They just can mimic metabolically another species as long as they know it very well. So not only having been around Yoda, having like been at least force sensitive enough to be like, oh, hi. They're just kind of like, okay, I need this, we need this. And before they shrink, they punch the shields and then say, go. And their voice just kind of shifts as they do it so that they say, go, you must. And then the second that they're about to hit the TIE fighter, just shield the front of the ship.
And the shields come on just in time, turning the cat's paw from a very swift light freighter into a battering ram. Inatas would probably be grumbling back in engineering at CNR's very shoddy design to not include shields on their main starfighter. The cat's paw basically plows through the thing and cuts it in half.
Delightful.
And
All this money, and they cheap out.
I hope Inada saw that. I don't think he did.
You hear on the internal comms, you have a death wish, you know that?
Kind of like right before they right before they actually kind of revert to what they actually look like, they kind of hit the comms and be like, but it worked, didn't it?
What you don't see is Ace abundantly rolling their eyes. Which they're used to this already.
Who goes next?
I don't think anyone's ever seen. I don't think Stars has ever shifted into Master Yoda.
We should do it more often. It's fun.
You can just have little baby Yoda. But now they look like a 3-foot-tall gelfling.
Right?
That's what they actually look like, is they're a 3-foot-tall gelfling with long locks and dragonfly wings.
That's amazing. Oh, that's right. The Guppin.
I'm at fatigue 8. They're really tired.
Yes. As you revert back to your normal form. And then who goes next following this up? The cat's paw rockets through a TIE fighter, and then...
Jess, you want to go?
Yeah. Mine will be much less exciting. I'm going to...
Untrue. Continue.
Not true.
I'm going to focus and do a bit of cautious progress to try to shoot down one of the TIE fighters, or at least damage it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I roll...
What is your rating?
4.
So 4d10 plus 1d6.
Oh, crap. What did I do wrong?
You okay?
Yeah.
The dice roller hates me.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Okay, I think I'm putting spaces in the wrong place. Sorry.
Yep.
It's all good.
That's okay. It's a slash roll space 4d10 plus 1d6, no spaces.
4d10.
10 plus 4d10 plus
1d6.
1d6.
Yep, no spaces there. It's just slash roll space and then
Okay,
the
that's where I
there.
screwed up.
Do you have a passage or do you have a break?
I have... Okay, no, my break is on maintain.
You have a passage.
No.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. That's all right. Negative success here on this. So for this, do you want me to narrate what happens or do you want to?
Sure, although I don't know if my I don't think my advantage would do anything.
In this case, no, because there is a negative amount of successes.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check. Yeah, you can narrate how badly this goes for me.
So it's not that it goes very badly too, because it actually doesn't increase your danger. It's a cautious progress. But essentially, while you're trying to set up your plan to take down one of these fighters and drill it with the laser cannons, all of the movement with the ice and everything that's been shifting about, from people fucking battering, ramming TIE fighters and blowing apart ice chunks and shooting torpedoes into giant ships that are now exploding in these ice fields. The drift of all of the ships in this area, you just barely pick up on the sensors that the wreck of a munificent class Star Destroyer or a Star Frigate, a CIS frigate essentially, is drifting right into Ace's path. And you have to abandon your attack run instead, as you basically tell Ace left now, and you skim along the side of these massive armor-plated panels that are just covered in carbon scoring. Turbo laser fire still showing all of its battle damage on this ship 10, 20 years later. You manage to avoid certain death from plowing into this, but it does mean that your attack is frustrated and you cannot actually hit one of the fighters.
Yeah.
But the battlefield is getting more dangerous as all of this debris is moving much faster now. Who goes next? Was that everyone, or?
I think it's just me.
I think Bulwark. No, I haven't gone either.
Okay, you go first.
Bulwark and Ace. What's up?
Okay. You said everything's moving faster, correct? With that.
Yes.
Okay, that works well for me. AJ, do you mind if I use the push and you assist with this one, because I'm going to need
keep pushing.
Help to that danger
keep
back
doing
down.
the Ace thing.
Excellent.
Also,
right.
you had Bulwark has Stars as their ward, and Stars just got in danger.
I already burned that relationship.
Yes, I have Stars as a ward as well, but you are not at 10. Or no, you were at 10.
Yeah, I was.
I can still activate that, correct, GM?
Yes, actually, because this would be the last chance you have to activate it.
Great, then I'll use it.
Don't forget, the fighter wing is also still in the area. Claw Squadron is providing backup, so you can also trigger them as well to add an additional 3 progress.
Yes.
Okay. If they... Bulwark, do you have any ideas for what you might want to use? Do you want to use the fighter wing, or do you want me to do it?
Go for it.
If I'm going to do it, I'm just going to add to progress. And
Add to progress, I'll say for us.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. So your danger goes up by 5. You're using a relationship, right?
Yes, I certainly am.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, and then 1, 2, 3 from pushing. 1, 2, 3 as you incorporate Claw Squadron, and you do not have the ability to add 3 more. However, do you just want to throw in a talent to get as close as possible to the next hit?
Yes. Can I also roll for it to see how many I can get? This is designed to fly like a lunatic.
It's either a relationship or a roll.
Oh, sorry.
You cannot
sorry.
Okay. You can't gain the benefits of your hotshot thing. If you choose to use the relationship, you actually can't gain the benefits of it because you have to roll to get those successes.
That's all right.
So it's a balance kind of thing. But anyway, but 2 hits is enough to take out another tie.
Okay.
How do you kill a tie?
With everything just moving faster than normal, I'm going to move across the path of one of them to lure them into following us, and basically lead them into one of the drifting hulks that I've noticed along the way, and basically lead them in and pop out, turn the ship, start rotating. As I rotate, find a gap that I can pop out of, but the profile is too narrow for a TIE fighter with those wings to fit through. Like a rectangular gap, in other words.
Absolutely. Yeah, you find a gap through the cored out wreck of a Venator. flying through that very long, massive hangar bay that they have. And you see that this thing has been cored straight through to the back of the ship. So you follow that until eventually you pop out of one of the large thrusters on the back, spinning the cat's paw the entire time to navigate through all the debris and the girders and everything that have fallen down in the ship. And the tie behind you just, it can't. It clips it and it bites it. The wing is shorn off and it hits the side of the wall and then hits outside of the Venator and goes spinning off into space at that point until it smashes into a rock of ice.
Excellent.
With Claw Squadron following your maneuver and flushing these ties out as well, forcing them into making more mistakes.
Okay.
Will work. Ace has put the ship in extreme danger at this point. The systems can't take this much strain.
This is my job, isn't it?
Yep.
You signed up for this, buddy.
Watch the professional at work. That's 3 successes.
Do you have a passage?
I do have a passage. Tie engineer.
So that's 4 successes. Who are you
Can I
applying
burn
to?
Can I burn multiple talents as well? Actually, I don't need to.
You can only do that if you have specifically the overdrive voidnetic, like Stars has.
All right, so I'll burn 1 talent as well because.
So that'll bring it up to 6.
I believe 6.
Okay, who are you reducing by 6?
Let's reduce the 2 people who are in major danger. So Starsea and Ace. And I'm gonna burn the talent jury rigger.
How does your jury rigging allow you to save both the shield operator and the pilot at the same time?
So Ace is known for making let's say unorthodox piloting moves. And in working with Ace, Initas has learned to make some unorthodox decisions as the ship engineer. So if anyone still has CAF somehow, it suddenly floats out of its cup as the gravity is completely turned off in the ship, as well as half the lights, as well as the cooling system. So all of a sudden, the entire ship gets unbearably hot as just an otherwise irresponsible amount of power is diverted exclusively to engines, stabilizers, and shields.
Works in a pinch, but nobody's comfortable.
I thought you were going to use the calf to do something for a moment.
Pour that into the reactor.
We will find out if it actually is reactor fuel.
Oh, man.
Drink up, lovely. You need it. Okay, we are going to wrap this up as soon as we possibly can here. So we have 3 TIE fighters left, and just to make it really easy, all 3 of those TIE fighters are like, kill the pilot. So they immediately put Ace to 11. They have decided that focusing on the rest of the ship is just not worth it. If they kill the pilot, the rest of the ship will be left adrift. So they focus as much as they can, harassing, strafing. They buzz as close as possible, trying to force Ace to make mistakes, trying to force Ace to slam into some of this debris that you all keep making them slam into.
Oh no.
Who goes?
Question.
Yes.
Would a protect an ally roll help Ace?
Yes, a compensate roll would.
Okay. Then yeah, I want to compensate because I also have Systems Whisperer, and I think that might help.
Nice. Sure, go ahead and make that roll.
Okay.
I believe most people have burned all their relationships by this point too. Does anyone have any left?
I have Ace as a comrade, but
I have Inatas as a comrade as well. I still have that.
Oh,
I
that
have
just
Stars
triggered.
as a comrade.
You have Stars as a
what?
comrade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if that's the case, the comrade for stars triggered during Stars' last roll.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking old rules. I'm so sorry. Disregard me.
Okay.
Oh, the old rules were comrade triggered when your comrade rolled 0 successes or less.
That's what it
Still
says on
that.
the paper.
Or I mean, when they rolled 3
Rival is
comrade is not triggered yet.
Okay.
Comrade is not triggered yet. I was misinterpreting something. So sorry.
Okay. And
Continue.
okay. All right. So I need to roll. I think it's it's 4d10 and 1d6.
Yes. Yeah, if your rating is a 4, that's what you do. I see 2.
So how do I apply Systems Whisperer? So I do have a passage, which is Shield Operator.
The passage only counts if you got a 10 on any of these dice, which unfortunately you did not.
Damn.
So in this case, for Systems Whisper, it's just you pick the 2 people that you want to reduce the danger of, and one of them can't be you. Or neither of them can be you. So
yeah. So Ace. And who else is real bad?
Bulwark is higher than Jess at the very least.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll do Bulwark and Ace.
Okay.
As I just kind of, I guess it would be, again, their arms are a little shorter, but at this point they're flapping their wings and hovering because they can't reach all the controls either way, but they're just flitting around and
taking advantage of the lack of gravity.
Yes, taking advantage of the lack of gravity to just kind of oop, hit button, cool. And
that's adorable.
And it's adorable, but they're also just kind of moving. They're rotating the shields in a way on the ship that they're very, very, very good at following those TIE fighters.
And sure enough, you help take some of the pressure off, make sure that engineering isn't going to go bust back there, and you make sure that Ace has a little bit more room to maneuver and can afford to go back to their normal flying style at this point. Not fighting entirely for their life. Very good. Who goes next?
Thank you.
I'll go last.
Would it be more helpful for me to try to do a cautious progress, or would it be more helpful for me to protect Ace?
So
I'll protect Ace. Go nuts.
What is your push rating versus your focus rating?
Oh, I said cautious progress because my push is 2. I should not push under any circumstances.
All right.
What's your fatigue currently at?
2.
2 left or 2 spent?
2 spent.
2 spent. Okay. Then in that case, yeah, go for the focus because you only need 1 more hit to actually get a hit here, or 1 more success to get a hit here. And then if you have any extra, you can drop one of your force powers and try and really push through to get the second.
Yeah, don't worry about compensating Ace. I got that.
Okay, so I need to.
Ajay literally built their character to do that thing.
Yes.
Okay. Brilliant. So I need roll. Ah, crap. Slash space.
You're great.
You're doing good.
Considering your roll was the same as last time. Oh wait, no, it doesn't copy paste. Never mind.
No, it doesn't. I'm doing it. It's just taking me a moment.
It's
So
all right.
4d10 and 1d6, and hopefully I typed that right. Did I?
You did.
You did, and you got 1 success, which is what you needed. You got a hit
Okay.
on the board.
I can use my. This isn't super relevant, but I can use my steady nerves to whenever I get a success, I can reduce my danger by 1.
And so you do. Your danger drops by 1 as you take some of the pressure off of yourself. You land a hit on one of these ties. And just because we're nearing the end here, do you also want to drop a force power just to like really try and push through the successes here?
I mean, the only ones I have, I don't know if I can use them twice, are heightened senses and super strength. Okay.
So you can use them as long as you have fatigue.
Okay, well, heightened senses. However, that's gonna help.
1, 2, 3. How does heightened senses help you hit this TIE fighter?
I am extremely aware of what the pilot is thinking and feeling.
Mm.
So I know where they're going to go next. So I can shoot. And boom.
Very cool.
Nice.
I dig it. So now, as part of that, we haven't done this yet. One last mechanic.
Okay.
This is the second force power used in the scene. The balance of fate is already in effect.
Okay.
So once you start using the force in a scene where this is already a factor, the force begins to ebb and flow between light and dark, between calm and dispassionate, between anger and emotional responses, and serenity and control. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll 1d6.
Okay.
On a 1 or a 2, the tracker goes down towards the dark side. Things start to become more heated, more reckless, more energized. On a 3 or a 4, it does nothing. It stays right there, just keeps doing its thing. On a 5 or a 6, it goes up. So this
Bada
is
bing,
actually...
bada boom. I think that's good news.
So it actually makes it where neither is essentially better than the other. They just do different things. Okay. So for the light side, as this slides up towards the first ticker on the light side, what this does is makes it where as long as this stays here, all of your talents, your talents and force powers both, all cost 1 less fatigue to use.
Okay.
So for the regular spacer talents, it only costs 1 fatigue to actually use those. For the actual force powers, it only costs 2. So now they're easier to incorporate into your rolls.
How much fatigue would my force power have cost me?
So yours still costs you the 3 because you used it before. You use that first, and then you roll this after.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes. I just want to make sure I marked it down right.
Yeah. It's kind of like how when stars hit 10 danger and then triggered the balance of fate to go back down, but that still triggered the ward because the 10 danger happened first.
Makes sense.
So order of operations here. So there we go. The light side is starting to flow. Everyone can feel a sense of serenity overcome them, a sense of calm. Even in the midst of this maelstrom of battle, the crew is able to remain focused. You are able to remain centered. You're able to continue doing what you need to do to survive here without getting out of control with just extreme emotion trying to deal with this. So we are close to destroying another fighter, and we have 2 more fighters after that. Who goes next?
Pilot?
I mean, if you want to, you can go ahead. I'm just gonna do what Ace does best.
I'm gonna wait for Ace to do what's best and then clean up afterwards.
Delightful. Okay. I don't have any relationships to burn, so you know what? I think Ace is... I'm going to burn Claw Squadrons 3 to gain a hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to push and see how far that gets us. Because fuck it, this is what I do.
Such an
do
ace
it and do
line.
it well.
It's such an ace line.
1, 2, 3, 3 and a 3 and another critical.
Okay. All right. So three successes, and then one of them was a 10, or 3 successes and a 10.
3 successes and a 10.
So 4 successes.
With 4 successes plus
Okay.
another one.
All right. So let me math, because you're a hot shot, right?
Yup.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. You're a hot shot. Those rolled successes are doubled. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 2 hits. You have a passage. 1. You pushed. 1, 2, 3. That is 3 hits. You destroy one of the fighters. Actually, you destroy 2 fighters. You finish off the damaged one, and you take out another. And then you said you wanted to incorporate Claw Squadron as well?
Yes, please.
1, 2, 3. Do you want to throw in a talent just to get 4 fucking hits and damage one of the other ones?
You know what? Let's do it. Finesse.
Finesse.
I've talked to Inatas enough. I've heard him ranting about CNR fleet systems, and I know how shitty these tin cans with engines are.
So, working in the squadron, the finesse, the hot shot, the everything, like you just destroyed 2 TIE fighters straight out and damaged the remaining one. How did you pull this off? What did you do?
As I'm popping out from the Venator with Claw Squadron behind, and I'm assuming a cloud of TIE fighters behind us, like between us, I'm going to basically drift the cat's claw around and force them into a pincer movement between us and Claw Squadron. So head to head, at least one will go down, and I'm basically going to pincer them between us and the X-Wings. And hopefully any debris from stray turbo laser blasts will clip like an asteroid and bring some debris into play.
Oh, the debris is definitely in play at this point. It's practically unavoidable. But okay. You clear house at this point. You actually get a Corellian war whoop from the leader of Claw Squadron and seeing this. And it's the X-Wings are swarming around this last TIE, chasing it. The TIE is trying to go to ground at this point. It has decided, like, absolutely not.
There is nowhere to fucking hide.
So who wants to finish it off?
You know what?
Question.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, you get to go. You haven't gone yet.
I haven't gone yet.
Go.
So
Bring it on.
I'm going to tell you right now, just because of time and everything like that, if you push and can get at least 2 successes or what have you, Ace is protected by the Phoenix Protocol. So you don't actually have to bring them down. They'll still live at the end of the scene.
I'm fine. Just end the scene.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's push.
Yeah!
That's spoken like the fucking crew of the Dark Horse.
Burn, baby,
10
burn.
Plus 2d6.
2 successes, and that was all you needed. 2 successes. Bam! How do you take out the tie?
What is this crew? And Initas just keeps flicking off switches. Hyperdrive goes offline. All lights go offline. All cooling systems go offline. Shields go offline. All that's left is engines and turrets.
You've turned us into a TIE fighter. I love it.
Oh no.
And
But oh yes.
it's just one last barrage of shots, and this TIE fighter is nothing. And then, just in a fit of panic, Initas just like, all right. What next? And next thing you see is the entire ship shuts down for 1, 2, 3. And then everything just starts booting up over and over and over again. Wonderful. You made me have to risk killing everyone.
But you didn't kill
Where's the
everyone.
calf?
You didn't kill
No. You said if I can't have any, you can't have any, and I need it right now.
Fine, you
This
have
little,
some
like,
too.
This little gelfling is like flying around near the shield, right? Also, at this
lecturing
point,
Inatas in this high-pitched little voice.
yeah. Well, at this point, Inatas would notice they have their lightsaber.
Oh no.
um,
He just sinks to the floor. It's just-
Jess's eye implants, her eyes are purple, so they just sort of start basically acting as flashlights so she can see what she's doing and direct a very strong, just like, what the heck look to Bulwark.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love it so
While
much.
you guys are all doing this, I'm assuming everything's back online. Activate comms back to the freighter, the closer,
The lucky break.
the
a
lucky
sitting
break thing.
duck.
Well, that too, but we'll not be so rude. I'll calm them and say, "Your path is clear. Go. See you at the rendezvous."
Just managed to get ourselves clear of the ice field, punching in the hyperdrive coordinates now. I'll see you at Celeste.
And I'm going to bring our ship around and follow. And I don't know. Wait, where did the X-wings? Do they need a ride with us, or?
They got hyperdrives.
X-wings have hyperdrives. They are immediately forming back up with the quasar fire. You get the chime in from Claw Squadron Leader, who goes, "Excellent flying out there, freighter. If I didn't know any better, I'd say we'd have to have you in one of our squadrons."
You
Maybe
hear from the
someday.
back.
Buy me a drink when we get to shore, and we'll talk more.
You just hear a small, like, Yoda voice from the back. Need that you would.
And like again, somewhere in the bowels of the ship, just someone just muttering, "I'm gonna strangle all of these people."
What are you doing, little one?
The cat's paw forms up with the quasar fire, and a small semicircle of X-wings forming forward to protect it. All of you trade navicomputer data immediately in order to sync up your jumps to hyperspace. You know that the fire is heading off to Celeste, but the cat's paw is called elsewhere. The Alliance isn't going to rest just because of a little skirmish like this. There is still more supplies to acquire, more people to inspire, more fights to win. With a final touch to the console, Jess looks over at Ace. The two grab onto the levers, pull down, and there is nothing but the thrum of the hyperdrive and blue space. And that's it!
Why
You did it!
Holy shit.
So that was our one shot
You can leave.
to open up Star Wars month here on SideQuest. We are doing this all month long, folks. Not this game, not specifically Hyperdrive here. There'll be plenty of others to play. But with that said, this was a just cripping, astounding season opener, I feel, personally.
My heart's pumping.
But with that said, I do want to give a amazing shout out to everyone who is joining us in chat here, everyone keeping watch over this amazing crew of spacers as they go and just pull off some of the fucking craziest stuff I've seen. This has been a lot of fun for me to run personally, so I am going to go ahead and let everyone give some outros to this. Go ahead and tell us who you are, where else we can find you on the web, what are the games you might be playing in, anything else you want to plug, and maybe some last minute thoughts on tonight's session. So I am going to go in reverse order from how I started. So I am going to start with Ajay.
Hi, folks. My name is Ajay. You can find me on Twitter at Ajay Pandey. You may know me as the person working on Bolt, which is a weird D10, D4 RPG engine type thing. It's real fun. You will also see me in a couple weeks where I will run a Lasers and Feelings hack based on the vibes of KOTOR 2 called Pain and Regrets.
Oh Lord.
It's it's gonna be really fun. I'm I'm just super excited. Yeah.
And any
It's
final
amazing.
thoughts? Okay.
Holy shit.
I am glad that you enjoyed it. I know that you've been looking forward to playing this for a long time, so I'm very glad you got to join.
This is amazing.
Glim.
Hey, Bulwark.
I'm too tired to tell you to put it away.
Prehensile Cattail will like swipe it on the way out.
Not if it's on.
Here's a handle.
Hi, I'm Glim. You can usually find me on the Twitter at GlimmerOnArt. You can also find me on Facebook as GlimmerOnArt, and basically anywhere else on the web, including Tumblr, and I have a WordPress blog that I run for mostly reviewing tabletop RPGs and being gay. So that is on my Twitter account as well. And I will be around for probably more of these.
And any final thoughts on today?
That was great. And I loved it. And I promise I won't break this ship.
Wait, what other ships?
I don't want to know.
I know that leads to too many questions. So we're gonna move on to Kirsten.
Hi, I am Kirsten. You can find me on the internet at Kirsten Crafts. Crafts is spelled with a K. And I will also be playing in Pain and Regrets at the end of the month. And I'm very excited and on because it feels. And on Saturdays, you can find me at Story Girl on Twitch at 6 Pacific time playing Star Trek Adventures.
And any final thoughts on tonight?
You guys are so awesome, and I had a really great time, and I love you all, and I love our characters, and
This was so good.
thank you so much. This was great.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for playing. And last but certainly not least, Sinyi.
I'm Sin. You can find me on Twitter at xin_115 or in, well, all over the internets, really. And I'm on the Discord as well, so if you want to come and scream at me about stuff, feel free. Tonight was a blast. I have missed this system so much.
I've missed Ace and Ortiz so much.
I love all
love
of
playing-
you.
I love Ace so much. But I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Thank you everyone else for playing. We have a really great crew.
Yeah, I'll say everyone of the 3 of these people have never played this before ever, and it gelled so quickly that like I would think that you folks have been playing Hyperdrive with us for a while now. So with that said, I am Don. I am Jago. I have been your Galaxy Master for the evening. If you've liked what you've seen here, I run a full campaign of Hyperdrive called The First Ember. Recently, it has been on our sibling channel, New to the Party, where you can go and check out all 12 episodes currently on VOD. You may want to do that because this Thursday, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are actually here on Welcome to the Party, continuing that same campaign going forward. So we have a ton of story going on there. It is about the formation of a rebel alliance, about the first real resistance movement against the Empire. The crew describes themselves as just a bunch of disaster lesbians who punch fascists, and that's not wrong.
It makes me cry. It's so beautiful.
It's actually fantastic. I have a wonderful time running it. All of the players just like, it's great. I don't have words for it. Just go fucking check it out like right now. Go stop watching this. Go watch that. With that said, for side quests here, coming up next Monday, we will have Capjack running a game of For the Queen, Star Wars edition, where they will be a group of pad maidens helping out Queen Amidala in dealing with issues on Coruscant and Naboo. The majority of the players, I believe, have already decided they are going full like Naboo royalty makeup and hairdos as well. So I'm just saying, don't miss that one. After that, we have the Monday following, which would be the 18th. Ren is going to be running some Fantasy Flight game Star Wars RPG, playing a bunch of bounty hunters in the Undercity of Coruscant, which promises to be super fucking cool. And then finishing out at the end of the month, Jay is running Pain and Regrets, Lasers and Feeling hack that promises to be amazing because Jay knows how to do that. Just take
how to make people cry.
Yes, through the games and the characters, I promise you, it will be a very, very good game. And that's it. That's it for me. So with that said, thank you again to all of the people that were with us in chat. Thank you for all of our wonderful audience members who checked us out here. Please go check us out on Patreon. We really, really, really appreciate all of the support that you give us. Come join us on Discord because there's just more and more awesome people all like this. We talk about more than Star Wars. I swear that we do. And if you liked this system and want to go and check it out, the system is actually called Airlock. I've gone ahead into our chat and dropped the drive-through RPG link there right now. It is literally $10, and
buy it. It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
So good.
You can use it to run more than just Star Wars. It'll fit any space opera setting, anything you can think of. If you want to do The Expanse, if you want to do Alien, if you want to do Guardians of the Galaxy, or just pick something, you could do it. So with that said, we're done here for the night, and we are going to go raid our friends over at Justice the Musician, who is playing a homebrew D&D setting. And we are going to go check them out and join them on that adventure. So thank you for everyone who participated, and may the Force be with you. All of you.
Thank you.